Hey guys, welcome to Beyond the Force, a Star Wars podcast in a galaxy far, far away, in the expanded universe, not in the Disney canon. Um, episode 2. Now, episode 1, we kind of talked about Celebration, and we talked about kind of what, our likes and dislikes, what we're hoping for, where we kind of are at with Star Wars. Chris mentioned that he's very much more invested in the Star Wars games. I mentioned I'm excited for the mall show, and there's some things in Ahsoka season 2 that I really hope are good. But at the same time, I don't trust Kathleen Kennedy to not get her grubby little hands all over something I'm actually excited about. So this podcast is going to be, there's going to be some people. I'm going to warn you now. This is going to be one of the most. If you thought Star Wars Theories podcast with his friends was toxic, we're going to get real today, guys, okay? Because we got to talk about the state of Star Wars. It's not good, guys. And we're not talking about the state of Star Wars because there's proof of something that I want to talk to you guys about that has been proven to me, and it's kind of ridiculous, right? The only reason that Disney Star Wars is continuing to exist, and I might do a video about this, is because all the money that Revenge of the Sith is making at the box office being back in theaters is going to go to Disney. And you know how fucked that is? That they're going to springboard off someone else's success? Like, thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, no, I think, it's funny how, like, Revenge of the Sith is 20 years old and it's already doing better than most films nowadays in the box office. Like, and this, it just goes to show where, like, we are with films these days in Hollywood.
Yeah. And there was I guess at one of the events for the screenings, Hayden and Samuel Jackson came out swinging lightsabers and
I saw it. Yeah.
That was cool.
And it got more people excited than anything fucking Disney Star Wars. So
that's crazy.
This is what's happened, guys. Okay, so I've talked to Chris. I believe the future of Star Wars is in the fans, not Disney, not big studios. Now look, clearly within the Marvel brand, Marvel's going to pull their shit together and can still work within studio capacities, right?
Yeah, comics and stuff. I get that.
Yeah, but I don't think Star Wars will live on in that way. I think Star Wars is going to have to go in the hands.
It has to be live action because, like that's what Star Wars started off as, live action movies, and that's what it should like live by, die by. You know what I mean? So like,
which is why announcement for you guys. I don't know if you saw me talk about it on my stream last night. Because most of you were in bed. Instead of watching what I consider Disney Star Wars is not Star Wars, instead of watching Andor Season 2, which I'll still watch it myself, but I'm not doing watch parties for it. Yeah. I'll watch it and put a review out rated from how crap it is, in my opinion, to how, maybe it was all right storytelling. Right? But I got some videos coming out today when I wake up from my nap that I'm about to paint. I'm about to go after the big ones, guys. I'm going for Tony Gilroy. I'm going for John Boyega. And I'm going for Kelly Marie Tran. And I'm swinging for the fences, man. Sometimes to get popular, to get big, you got to make enemies.
Of course. Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, man. Andor fans, come at me, bro. I ain't afraid of you. You're a small fraction of nothing. Your viewership numbers mean nothing to me. And if you think Andor is good Star Wars, you can go fuck yourself. I mean that in the nicest way. Look, as a piece of media, it's fine. But it's not.
I mean, for me, when it comes to Andor, like I see like. I can't really undermine and say Andor isn't really Star Wars or anything like that because I do feel like that, Andor is pretty much a rebel story, and we've had a lot of rebel stories and Imperial stories.
Why that whole statement of the rebels is going to play into some stupid shit in their story, and that is that if you guys have not watched the newest episodes of Andor. Or you just don't give a fuck. If you don't give a fuck, you can stay. If you do give a fuck, I'm going to spoil the shit out of it in a minute. Andor gave us great scene. Disney Star Wars is so messed up. Exactly. We don't need that. We do not need that. Thank you. Thank you for saying that, Spider-Man. If you watch my review, I made it very clear, and I'm continuing to make it clear. And I saw all these people attacking people. Oh, it's mature content. We need this.
Yeah, no,
That's
it's
not
mature. I mean, I
content
get
we
it.
asked for. That's
I
not
get
mature
it.
content we asked for. I asked for Vader chopping off arms and doing the shit like he does in the comics.
I
Like,
get that too. I get that too.
it's like,
I'm just not really like, for me, when I saw the scene, now that I've watched the episode in its entire context, obviously, like, I do feel like it was like somewhat forced, but at the same time, I'm just like, well, I'm not really like, I wasn't really grossed out by it, because the way I see it is like, there have been some things in Star Wars that have been implied a certain way, but it's just not been shown in its full context, in it. And obviously, this kind of got showed in that, but I saw it more as a brawl. I'm not that upset, but I'm not even the biggest Andor fan. I do like season 1 for the most part. I thought like there was two or three episodes that were like kind of boring to me, but the rest of it was pretty good. This season so far has been better because it started off a lot stronger. I feel like.
yeah, I feel like you right now, Chris, even though you're not as happy with Star Wars, you focus on games and you focus on a lot of other things. I feel you're going to be kind of the voice of reason in these conversations, which is why this podcast is going to work.
Yeah.
But me being a hardcore Star Wars fan, I call it like it is. I may not be Star Wars theory, but I built my channel from Star Wars. I built my channel talking about Star Wars. I built my channel, like I talk about many different things, but I built it from that. And so because of that, I have to have very strong opinions of it because of what it has meant to my life. Marvel, I watch Marvel movies, I enjoy them. I watch DC movies, I enjoy them. Star Wars is, remember when The Mandalorian said, weapons are a part of my religion?
Yeah.
Star Wars is a part of my very essence of my being. Since I was less than 5, my dad drilled the existence of Star Wars into my head. My stepdad did, my biological father, and my uncle.
Yeah, of course. Same. My family love it as well.
It's in my DNA. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to Star Wars. Not these fucking new fans that think Disney Star Wars is the shit and think, oh, look, it's Disney Star Wars. Look at this. It's so amazing. No. It's for my part, like, I've been thinking it through, really. I had a hard time enjoying Star Wars since Force Awakens. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, even though Force Awakens, I think, was pretty decent considering.
That's a fair criticism.
Yeah, but I do think that, and I think George Lucas even has, I don't know if he's allowed to go on record and say this, but a lot of people believe that he said about Force Awakens that he didn't like that J.J. Abrams copied his homework.
Basically, yeah.
Because basically, they tried to remake A New Hope.
Yep. And then they were going to do it like
that's just wrong, okay? And I'm like, the thing that's wrong about this, and people can say whatever they want. There are right now, Star Wars is divided into factions, right? And people can say that George Lucas made a lot of goofy mistakes, and people can say, "Oh, I'm a fan of the books because this was made and the books are."
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I agree. He made some mistakes, but I wouldn't sit here and be like, "Oh, he completely fucking ruined it." Like,
my belief in this entire situation, even though we have things like the people that wrote the book, the EU is great. They have great stuff, but I will and always will be a George Lucas purist. Like, to me, I haven't even gotten to see Revenge of the Sith in theaters, but to hear that people are. Look, it was cool they did a re-release for Phantom Menace. It was cool they did like a re-release for Attack of the Clones. That was cool, right?
But Revenge of the Sith was the one.
I just think it's amazing that a movie I've defended my entire life is finally getting the respect it deserves.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I felt like back then as well, especially like I've always said that. The thing, I can even still say this now. I've always felt this way about the Star Wars fandom in general. We love to pick and choose when we say something is Star Wars and something isn't, because as much as I love like the lightsabers, the Jedi, the Sith, the Force as a whole, I still like the Rebel stories. I still like the Imperial stuff that goes into the comics and the novels. Obviously, that wasn't shown during like much of like the Clone Wars and the movies itself. But I personally think that they love to pick and choose and say, "Oh yeah, this isn't really Star Wars because it doesn't have the element of the Force." And it's like, well, spaceship battles and rebel attacking the Imperials attacking the rebels. That's a part of Star Wars anyway. So like, what do you want? Like, do you want it to be like this all time? I understand if you have a preference, you prefer the Sith stuff, which is fine. I get that. That's my preference too. But I still love that other stuff because that's what makes up Star Wars anyway.
We got 10 people watching right now. That's sick. Yeah. So I agree. With you, Spider-Man. For me, I know a lot of nostalgic people like Empire Strikes Back's the best Star Wars movie, and that's great. Yeah. If you guys find that your favorite Star Wars movie, I'm not going to hate you. But I'm sorry. I love when a story comes together. And when I was a kid, my brain didn't work the same way as an adult. So when I was a kid and I saw and I realized that Anakin was going to become Darth Vader, I started fucking losing my mind.
Yeah.
Like it just I started losing my mind because I was like, this is awesome. And I remember having the merch from that movie, the cups. I still have my shirt somewhere. And also, if you guys like true Star Wars, if you guys like true Star Wars, I'm gonna be real with you guys, right? If you like true Star Wars, then what you need to know is on May the 4th, we will be watching Star Wars, not Disney Star Wars. There might be some Disney Star Wars products mixed in there because there is new content that we are gonna watch. Like
the content that's really good, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But we're not watching the sequels because they don't exist from what we believe. But we are watching 1 through 6, and I am considering also watching. I am also considering watching Rogue One, especially with Andor on right now, and Solo.
Yeah.
And if we have time, because we're going to start at 6 a.m. If we can rope the Clone Wars into the prequel marathon, I would love to get some Clone Wars episodes in.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think the Clone Wars is like...
If we can't get like the Dave Filoni Clone Wars, at least we could get the micro series in. Like,
yeah.
Something for sure.
Cool.
I want to watch Visions as well. So I think Visions is one of the best original. I've still not seen it.
I think Visions is good because it has
it's original stuff. Yeah, Rogue One is L Disney stories, we gonna watch real Star Wars. Yeah, man. 100%. We are gonna watch real Star Wars. Yeah. I just wish that fucking PlayStation would grow a fucking pair, and now that the movie's fucking success, where the fuck is my Revenge of the Sith remastered for PlayStation 5?
Remake even, fam. I want a remake of that game, fam. Because, bro,
like, the fuck?
Like, you know what I'm saying? But this is what I'm saying. Like, LucasArts made those games, innit? So now that they're not really around, it's like, well, give it to someone that cares. Like, I would say even give it to Respawn, because Respawn did well with the Jedi Fallen Order Survivor. Just give it to them, let them remake it, and then just we'll get it back on again. Because, like, when I look at Revenge of the Sith and Unleashed, that was the closest we kind of had to, not so much open world, but mission to mission kind of open world. We can kind of go anywhere within the mission barriers, basically.
Agreed. Yeah, no, we're going to be playing that anything Star Wars and Marvel. But also, before we get to the May the 4th stuff, guys, be here on Tuesday after one of the sickest episode of Legion of Creators podcast. We will be doing we will be doing my buddy in the chat, anything Star Wars and Marvel, has made a fan Star Wars series. I think he's only got one episode out right now, but he's released a series called Secret Survivors of Order 66. And we're gonna watch his fan project on Andor Day, if we call it that, instead of streaming Andor, because that show is not getting any more of my attention on live stream where Disney gets more marketing for me. They're not getting my marketing. I didn't support Snow White. I sure as hell not supporting Andor. They're not getting shit from me. Like, I'm sorry. I really wanted, like, you know, Krennic being it. I love Rogue One. I want these characters to be awesome. Also, Silver, get out of here. No one likes you. You're pathetic. W, Spider-Man. W. That's gotta suck, man. Spider-Man just webbed Silver in the face. And to answer the question, Spider-Man, about the shit between Rey and young Anakin, that's a debate between a YouTuber called Cobra Kai Karate. Decided to have a hot take that he says Rey is young Anakin. And I'm
what?
like, the fuck is wrong with this dude?
Wait, what did he say? Repeat that.
Chosen, you want to reiterate?
So I was talking to Karate a couple days ago, and he told me that Rey is a better character than young Anakin because young Anakin was being annoying all the time. Which I told him that's a part of his character, though.
That's a part of the
That is-
character. What?
You
Like
know,
he's always supposed to be annoying.
I told my mom this.
He's a 9-year-old kid. What the hell do you want him to be?
And
Karate doesn't understand nuance, man. He does not understand nuance. I swear, he does not
that's
get
such a
it.
good word.
Yeah, it's like
That's silly, man. I'm sorry. Like, what? He's a 9-year-old kid. It's a part of his character art. Like, I'm sorry. That's where if the episode 1 started when he was a teenager and he was in the temple or something like that, I can understand. But even then, it's like, bro, that's a part of his character. He's a 9-year-old kid. Of course, he's gonna he's a kid. Like, any kid's gonna want to do whatever and feel whatever they want to be annoying and stuff. That's just how he is. That's what he was. You know what I mean? It's a part of his character arc. Like, at least
Yeah,
when
don't
he's
compare that
older,
to Rey, bro.
yeah, you can't compare that to Rey because Rey was the
Rey's
things
a
with
one-
Rey. We didn't even see her as a child as much. We just saw her as an adult, as a homeless child, and that was it. And obviously at first it was interesting to see what's going to be her backstory, or is it just going to be a new character that we have to develop? Cool, that's the kind of route that they should have went with Rey, but instead of that, what did they do? They just said, "Oh yeah, let's jump rush her powers and make it something special," when it wasn't really that. But that's a really bad take. I can't. That's bad. I'm sorry,
Bro, Rey's a crybaby. She always yells when she fights Spider-Man.
I don't know, man. I don't know. These takes can be a bit like that's a bad take, man. I'm sorry. Like, I understand because the thing is, I understand some people don't like Phantom Menace, but I still think the Phantom Menace is better than episode 2 in terms of story. Well, when it comes to episode 2, like, yeah,
Phantom Menace is, honestly, like I don't think it's one of
I
my.
think it's messed up. Anybody can say what they want, but I think the one thing that I think Will Chosen, I hope he comes back. Was he back now? I think I heard a blink. Let's see. Oh, kicked him out. There we go. We'll get him back here. I think. Oh shit! Again.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, what happened?
It kicked me out. It kicked me out. Restream. I knew it was gonna do that.
Restream was really like you today.
I predicted it. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's like, so the whole thing that people don't understand is that whole idea is that, like, the thing I've always said is, look, I enjoyed Force Awakens for what it is because it showed promise and there was potential.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
What people do not understand is, I have said this multiple times, and I don't care if you want to criticize his writing, whatever. If you look at a cohesive story and a planned out plan, you cannot tell me that in entirety, even without Clone Wars, that you prefer the sequel trilogy to the prequel trilogy, because the prequel trilogy had cohesion and actually a story.
Yeah. That was the plan. They always had that.
Like you can nitpick Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones and their writing all you want, but don't take away that it is a complete story.
Yeah, for real. Like, they're still good movies. Like, that's the thing. I don't understand. I've never understood the hate for the Phantom Menace. They were like, "Oh, Anakin was too young. Why couldn't they time skip to when, like, he was a teenager training at the Jedi Temple and stuff?" And I was just like, well, I mean, that's not the type of direction my guy wanted to go in. And there were books as well to explain Anakin's training and stuff like that when he was a teenager.
Because the reason we needed him to be a kid is people needed to see that when he was a kid, that he was that when Qui-Gon met him, that Qui-Gon could have actually stopped his corruption at a young age had he lived. And I think what George Lucas was trying to do was to try and show us, if he got to do the path that he wanted, Anakin would have never turned. And I still personally, even though I love the character, I still blame Obi-Wan for Anakin's turn for a lot. And and the DNA, I honestly, this doesn't make Obi-Wan a bad character. He's a great character. But the way his character is written, it's written all over the fingerprints of the Clone Wars that Obi-Wan is.
I feel like with Obi, I do feel like Yeah, because with Obi, like the one thing I always liked about Obi is that, like, yeah, when it came to the Jedi code, he always stuck to the code, whether it was
Yep.
bad or wrong or good
Yep.
or whatever. But
The Star
the
Wars I
problem
grew up
was,
with when I was a kid was George Lucas Star Wars, not Disney Star Wars. Agreed.
what was it? The problem was with Obi is that when he said, "Oh yeah, like the council's asking you to spy on the chancellor," kind of thing, it's like, bro, but like you're part of the council, like you're part of them, you're allowing this to happen, kind of thing. So where's your trust with Anakin to say, look, like,
well, one
this
thing
is
that
what it
nobody
is,
ever
you know what I
talks
mean?
about, everyone just wants to talk about the stuff that the movies tell. They don't go into the belief of the animated. But
Yeah,
one other thing that I just can't, we're going to talk about that in a minute, Spider-Man. I love what you mentioned. One of the things I could not stand is nobody ever talks about Obi-Wan taught Anakin.
yeah,
You would think that in Anakin's time in the Clone Wars, he's grown into such a mature and such a strong, very powerful Jedi before his turn, right? And the whole point of the Clone Wars micro series was to show that when Obi-Wan and Anakin were no longer just master and apprentice Padawan and stuff, it was when Anakin became a Jedi Knight. Well, Obi-Wan was on the council, was a master. Anakin and Obi-Wan, and this is the thing the movies don't cover because they don't have time. So if you don't watch Clone Wars, you don't know this. But you can tell from Clone Wars that not only did they just discover a brotherhood, they were treated as equals. Despite one being a master and being on the council. And so I think that the thing people need to understand is, to me, if the story is so fleshed out, and maybe this is Dave Filoni's fault for not explaining this, maybe it's so, but one thing that bothers me to this day is that Obi-Wan does not stand by Anakin's side when Ahsoka is excommunicated from the Jedi Temple.
Yeah, that's true.
When he knows Anakin's judgment is true. He knows, and also he literally has worked with Ahsoka multiple times. You really think he thinks Ahsoka's gonna be a part of a bombing?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I do agree with that. I think, I think also, I think I think Obi, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, as much as he stuck to the code, it was the wrong time to do it, because it was like, bro, like, this person in and out, like, isn't the one that bombed and killed people or stuff like that. Like, Ahsoka's not like that. Yeah, and you can trust Anakin with that. So it's like, I think those are the things that I like about Clone Wars, is that you kind of see those little distrusting moments with Anakin, and then once she left, that put a green light onto everything, saying like, oh, well, maybe this is why Anakin couldn't be a master, because he failed. Not so much, I wouldn't say he failed with Ahsoka, but in the grand scheme of things, like in the tools, especially the council, they probably looked at that, well, he failed having an apprentice. Now he's got to wait even more time and stuff.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? So,
bro, you literally did. Yes, Spider-Man, I agree with that. That is what I will be also on May the 4th. Not only will we be watching the Star Wars movies, but once all the rankings are done, I will be I'll be reviewing each of the not only the movies, but also ranking all the proper lightsaber duels. And I think what I'll do is, it's too hard to connect animated duels and live action ones. So I think I'll do two separate lists on animated duel, because it's an unfair advantage for live action.
Yeah, for sure.
You can do too much with animated, but for live action, I will be including the live action shows and the movies, all based on the live action qualifications of greatest to worst lightsaber duels. And I will tell you that while that list is quite large, you can definitely Spider-Man expect, while Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie, I put, people can say what they want, but for me, Obi-Wan and Anakin and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus Darth Maul, they're not that far off from each other.
Yeah, no, they're not.
Well, Revenge of the Sith is like an amazing duel. Those two fights are very close to me.
Those two fights are they're my top two for me.
I think the only thing that edges it out for me a little bit is the reason I think I would say Revenge of the Sith is because Revenge of the Sith has the emotional beat of it.
Yeah, the emotional,
Because Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, even though Qui-Gon dies, it's a master and apprentice fighting a new threat. And in the original, in Revenge of the Sith, you watch two brothers that, if you watch Clone Wars and you see, like, I don't know if you watched it, but a long time ago on my channel, we watched this video where they animated all the stories. They basically did the Revenge of the Sith storyline, but in Clone Wars. And
I've seen that. And
it's just incredible. Like, just
that's dope.
It was incredibly mind blowing. And so these are the things that fans are coming up with and they're creating and making.
Yeah, for real. Like I said, that's what I'm saying. Like when it comes to media nowadays, like the fans are the future, man. They always have been. I think once the Force Awakens came out, once Last Jedi came out, I was like, yeah, the fan films are going to be peak. So, you know.
Hey, what's up, Joe?
What's up, Jake?
Hello there. Complete that fight compare that fight in Phantom Menace to any of the fights in the sequels. No contest.
You can't compare that, man. It's like, I'm sorry, that's the first prequel fight we saw.
Yeah, it's not even a contest.
That's the first prequel fight we saw. So
that is true.
Bro, now what does that sound? Now I got Duel of the Fates playing in my head.
For real. That's why I was like earlier, man. I'm so glad I rewatched it in the cinema earlier, man. It was so good.
Dude, so you went to Revenge of the Sith and Sinners today?
Yeah.
Bro, I know this is a Star Wars podcast, but now that you've joined the club,
yeah,
was I right about Sinners?
No, yeah, Sinners was really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Do you see what I was talking about when I said that, I have a video coming out today. I definitely think that even if the current Blade movie with Mahershala Ali is truly scrapped, they got to get Wesley Snipes in there, and they got to have Ryan Coogler make Blade 4.
Yeah, definitely. I think with the combat though, they have to get someone else to help out with that because I'm not saying it was bad in
Coogler did pretty good in He did pretty good in the first Black Panther before the CGI stuff happened.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So and the choreography for the first Black Panther movie, he was pretty decent. The stunt choreography, they could bring them back.
Yeah.
Or they could also, like I said, maybe the job is maybe you can't get Chad Zaleski to direct because he's going to be more hands-on for the action. So maybe you have Chad and Ryan Coogler work on it together.
Right, yeah, definitely. That would be a
big enough project that you need both big directors to do it.
Yeah.
I agree with Chris. Star Wars fans like myself are absolutely the future because Disney Star Wars doesn't understand Star Wars. Exactly.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, because like I said, innit, like I've seen a lot of fan films from 2005. When I've seen a lot of fan films from 06 to 07, right? And some of them finished like what? Some of those fan films finished like probably 5 years after YouTube came out, or maybe like 10 years.
Have you guys noticed that whenever a certain loser is in the Have you guys noticed that whenever a certain loser in a chat, I'm trying this new thing where I don't even acknowledge his existence?
Yeah, good. You don't need that.
Like you're not even honest counsel, bro, and we definitely don't grant you the rank of master. So,
but no, that's what I said. Like, fan films. Oh, bro, that was so funny in the cinema. Bro. I'm sorry. Like when I saw that again, I was like, oh gosh, here we go. But yeah, no, like
you know what? I'm gonna do that from now on in all my Star Wars videos. Whenever I have to get into a debate with a Disney shill about Star Wars, be like, take a seat. Look. Will someone tell you how it's really about to be?
Yeah, the thing is, like I said, in it, if there's people, because I know people from
you can join more.
I know people from the OG, I know people from the prequels that like the sequel stuff. And I'm like, cool, whatever. I don't know. I get it. Cool, that's fine.
Let me put the link in the
arguing with anybody. I just don't think the sequel stuff is not my shit.
This guy's a loser.
It's not my stuff.
The only fight I like in the sequels is, that was actually a pretty decent one. I still love that Captain. I still love that Captain Phasma is fucking is fucking Kenny. You know what's crazy? If we're talking about the sequels, I'm gonna give a hot take on something. There's an underrated fight I'd like to talk about in the sequel trilogy that nobody talks about. And despite I'm not happy with the actor right now, and I am going to put him on blast later, I do like Finn versus the traitor stormtrooper.
Oh yeah, that was good. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's when we saw the potential. We saw the potential that it could have been, but.
All right, Melissa, I put the.
And I hate that Jedi with a burning passion, but even though fucking Phasma is a fucking Kenny ripoff of Kenny from South Park, I do fucking love. Oh, is this from Melissa? I do fucking love Finn and Phasma's fight in Last Jedi. I do think it is pretty for a different kind of Star Wars fight that we had not seen. Is this really Melissa? Let me see. Melissa.
Bonsai, hey.
All right, let me
Yeah.
delete
Alright,
the
we
link.
are
Hold
delete
up.
the link.
Yep, I'm
Yeah.
working on it.
The small show is going to be take place between Clone Wars and Rebels. Yes, I will be making a big video talking about the Star Wars Celebration
Yeah,
news.
1 year after. 1
My
year
take.
after.
I'm really hyped for the mall show because
Yeah.
I think for me the biggest thing I feel with this mall show is if we didn't have I exist everywhere, Joe. Ignore me.
Don't even read his comments, Joe.
Yeah.
Don't even.
Well, you're right. I don't know
Yeah,
why I even read that.
let's just
Don't
continue
even read
talking
it.
about
You
Star
read it?
Wars, bro. Please, please.
No, we're
Yeah,
just
that's-
we're just talking about what we love and what we have issues with. But
Right.
so let's go back to Andor for a minute because I want to talk about something that I didn't really get to talk to Chris about because I had to go the other day. But so Chris, I've actually decided the grape in Star Wars isn't the thing that bothers me the most. You know what bothers me the most? That Tony Gilroy makes the rebellion and he refuses to add aliens in his rebellion, right?
Yeah, I think that's kind
But
of silly.
but here's the thing: are you ready for this? You ready to hear the thing that pisses me off the most?
Yeah.
He's literally bringing fucking visas and fucking the illegal alien concept to Star Wars.
I mean,
You do not
okay.
need
I
politics in Star Wars.
you see the visas. I kind of laughed because I was just like,
See, that's
I
what
mean,
pisses me off.
the only
I was
thing that
pissed
they've
off
asked
before we
about when it
got-
comes to ID, it's always been like identification or ID numbers for on ships or something. That's
Okay,
the
Jake.
only type of thing in it. So, you know what I mean? So it's
it's
kind of
like-
like
To me, that
the
bothers me.
visa stuff. I'm just like, really? Like, why do we? What? I've never heard of this. But also the alien thing, like, no aliens in the. That's silly because there was aliens in the Rebels Alliance and everything. Like, aliens are part of the Star Wars universe. Like, I'm sorry. Like, let's not do this whole thing of like oh, the aliens. Like, look, at the end of the day, aliens can be played by anybody. That's the thing. So it's like,
oh yeah. Speaking of that, I don't know if you read it, but I said I was going to go off on Tony Gilroy as well today.
Yeah.
It's not about the grape scene that I'm planning on going off on. It's about what he said about over the course because he doesn't want to have any cameos or any connection to any of the other legacy characters, right?
Yeah.
Dude, the shit he said about Palpatine and Vader. This man wants Star Wars fans to hate him.
What did he say?
So he said he doesn't want to. Don't expect Vader in Andor. Vader would never be in Andor because Vader. I don't want to write for Vader. Vader's very limiting because Vader doesn't speak very often. And I'm like, do you not understand the potential of Vader as a character? Do you not get the essence of at this time period what Vader is and what he means to this?
It doesn't make sense because Vader was in Rogue One. So
yeah, so it's stupid. And then with Palpatine, he said he had an idea for it, and then he just kind of like retracted his statement. I gotta find what he actually said, but let me see if I can find the article. Oh shit, we lost Chosen again. Dang, Restream really fucking hates Chosen. Yo, Joe, I gotta go eat, but I'll be back soon. All right, no worries.
All right, Chosen.
You know too, and I said this to you, Joe, in the comment that I made when you did your Andor review. I said like I've kind of like I used to love Star Wars, I really did, but I kind of like once it's just like kept going and and Disney got a hold of it and I just like I got disconnected from it and it was like like it hasn't gotten much better,
Yeah, no, there has been there's been some good stuff, but there has been a lot of bad.
Yeah, there has been some good stuff, but like it hasn't
bad.
really been better since
No.
since Disney got involved. Star Wars is not meant to be a Disney movie. Disney. It's not meant to be.
No.
And I think Disney should have just I love Disney. I love Disney. I love a lot of the movies that they made are a big part of my childhood. I love Disney and I love the lessons that they teach. All of it. I love it, but there are certain things that you shouldn't touch and there are certain things you go overboard with. And it's like with these remakes and Star Wars, they just keep going and going and going and it becomes more like of a cash grab and it's like it's like the whole thing, it's like they missed the whole concept. It's like, haven't they ever heard that too much of something is not good?
Well, the problem
Like,
is
they're
the
going
problem is it's not that they're
overboard with
putting out
it.
so much stuff. It's that they're putting out so much bad stuff. So the problem is that they're so in. Marvel's problem was they had some good things and they were super inconsistent. But I can't remember. I mean, I guess people like the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, but since
Yeah.
Disney has had Star Wars, even though Rogue One was enjoyable, even though Solo was enjoyable, no one watched a Disney Star Wars film or a Disney Star Wars show and said this is peak Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And like
That's
the
what I
point
mean.
of this being
Unless
is
if you really like it, then but yeah.
yep, and this is what I was saying about like when we were talking about this is what I was saying about the other day was about one of the reasons I took a break from the Miyagi-verse, and even why like even though I had a lot of plans for Cobra Empire, I might be changing Cobra Empire a little bit into something that kind of bleeds a little bit into like it will still be a martial arts film, but I might use Cobra Empire as like the working title, and I might work it into my work it into my Masters of Terras Kasi project, because one of the things I'm toying around with right now is Star Wars needs us, and Star Wars needs me. The Miyagi-verse will be fine, and Melissa, but I will say on a sidebar of the Miyagi-verse, I made a pretty big discovery that I'll be dropping a big video about Karate Kid Legends today that nobody's ever seen yet, that I found out about something that's kind of crazy.
Oh, really? You want to put it in the private chat?
No, I can talk about it here for a minute. It's just a sidebar. I think we're actually about to watch every single kid in the Miyagi-verse get bitch slapped in 1 2-hour movie in terms of skills.
Oh, really?
I did some digging.
Yeah,
I did some digging. Li Fong is better than every single teen in Cobra Kai.
okay, yeah, I would believe that.
If you look at it, I looked at his moveset, and by the time we haven't even seen him get the full training with both getting the defense from both Daniel and the from Mr. Han, this kid will be damn near unstoppable. Like
I believe that.
Somebody was saying something on a YouTube short that they're like, he's basically if Quan lived and was trained by Johnny and Daniel.
Oh, really?
I would believe that.
Actually, not a bad take when you think about it. When you look at the idea of it, it actually makes sense.
He could be. He actually, you know what? He could be chosen if he was trained by Mr. Miyagi.
From a young age, that's another good example too.
Yeah.
Chosen is one example.
By Chosen and Mr. Han, like he could be Mr. Miyagi if he could be chosen, a young Chosen, if he was trained by both Sato and Mr. Miyagi.
Oh, just imagine if one day Chosen this universe gets to the point where they do cross over with this project again, and imagine like, holy shit, this guy ends up going over to like Chosen Kim's dojo. You have the fucking the Miyagi-verse, most of the teams in the Miyagi-verse now. I love Miguel Diaz, but we have our champion now, guys. I
agree. I think Chang is going to be the most powerful Miyagi fight, even more powerful than Daniel.
Man, I wish I would have had clips in this video, because all I keep thinking about, and I'm sure Chris has this in his head since he just saw Revenge of the Sith, I will be the most powerful Jedi ever.
And something else too. I don't know if Tyrell sent you this, but we worked more on the scripts, Joe.
Okay. I'll check that out.
Yeah, if you can like help us with the fighting, like maybe put some stuff in, like where
I'll give my expertise on it for sure. I'll look into it. I've been super busy.
And I want to also what time's a good time for you today? Because I also want to talk to you a little bit about it.
Well, I do need to take a nap. But let's plan so today's my day. So now I'm done with the rest of the day. I'm off till Wednesday. So would you like to talk at 8 o'clock?
Sure, 8 o'clock. Yeah, 8 o'clock your time?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So let me introduce you real quick. So we got Vader is not appearing in Andor. There's a slap in the face considering Vader had a double cameo in row. Exactly. And fucking Krennic. I remember what was said about the Emperor, Chris. Now I remember what Tony said. So pretty much Tony stated, I had a theory that the way that Andor should end was that we're seeing all these missions that Andor was coming on.
Yeah.
I wanted it to unravel what Palpatine's grand plan was. Yeah. Right? in some way that messes up his thing. So my idea of like, I know people don't like Disney to just go crazy with all these willy-nilly cameos, but one thing I'll give Disney to Star Wars is sometimes when there was a storyline to be told, sometimes a cameo, you can make meaningful cameos that serve the narrative of the plot and the story. And what I speaking of which, we're going to talk about something that I might make a video alongside today that's kind of fucked. I found out something pretty massive from the mouth of a prequel actor. I don't even know who he was allowed to say this.
Yeah.
They fucked up, bro. We almost got Disney Star Wars peak again. Or not Disney Star Wars, but
Oh, really?
Star Wars again. Are you ready to hear what I found out?
Yeah.
What'd you find out?
I don't know if this was going to be in development when the certain project we will not speak of was being made being the Acolyte. But bro,
oh wait, this was the Plagueis and Palpatine show, right?
Even confirmed by Variety today that not only was the Palpatine show going to happen, it was going to involve. It was going to be Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Yeah. I remember. Ian McDermott even said that. Yeah, there was a show in works, but it just never happened.
He was so powerful. So now here's the thing. I'll give this. You know what's kind of interesting? I've been thinking about. I know people have never been okay with fixing the sequels, but you know what? You know what they should have done with the sequel trilogy? They should have took the page, that they should have took a page out of Harry Potter for Rise of Skywalker. They should have had Matt Smith play young Palpatine. Yeah. So you bring Palpatine back still, right? But make it work because I think he was supposed to be in that project, then he got canned or whatever, right? Because Kathleen didn't want to do that shit. She wanted to do her shitty idea. But what I would have loved is in the Chamber of Secrets, we're dealing with a memory of Tom Riddle, right?
Yeah.
Like, imagine a memory of young Palpatine. Remember, when Palpatine's old, he's powerful. But could you imagine what a young, full potential, full knowledgeable Palpatine would be like?
Oh my God.
Yeah, that would have been sick.
This is why people don't talk about it. I think it's insane. Nobody talks about how wild during the Clone Wars it is that Palpatine, even though he's not super old yet, he still was whooping Darth Maul and his brother's ass and just like
what?
Throwing sidekicks and like that Palpatine was lethal. If that Palpatine came out and whooped Rey's ass and stood up to Ben, I would have been fine with it. Like the fuck, man, that shit was crazy. So like, and you're gonna be happy because when you see my animated Star Wars lightsaber ranking, that fight, it's high, bro. That fight's incredibly high. Like I remember when the thumbnails came out for that trailer of Palpatine double wielding 2 lightsabers, and I was like, this is everything I've waited for ever. Because one of the coolest things about Palpatine is one of the things I love, and I wish we would have got more of their rivalry in the movies explored. Did you know that in the entirety of the prequel trilogy, if you guys understand lore, Mace Windu and Palpatine have been having this age-old war of the biggest dick measuring contest on the planet.
Wait, what?
Do you not know about this, Chris?
Yeah, I think I heard about it. Yeah, I heard about it, but I'm just like, wow.
Not literally, but so basically what happened is Mace Windu saw he was fucking cool, being able to use the dark side and be cool, and Jedi, they rely on their lightsabers, they do all these things. So Mace Windu wanted to be, and probably most of this was Samuel Jackson's idea, right? So since Samuel Jackson is black and Mace Windu's cool, right? He wanted to be gangster, right? So it's not gangster if you just have a purple lightsaber. He put this thing on his lightsaber called Electrium, which is one of the most powerful. Like it's basically the vibranium of the Star Wars universe, right? Yeah. And so he put a little trim on it. Hey, look at me, I'm badass motherfucker. I'm Mace Windu. I'm whatever. It's fucking cool, right? But Palpatine didn't believe. He didn't think lightsabers were necessary. But he wanted to fuck with the Jedi. That's why in the original trilogy, when Palpatine confronts Luke, he doesn't have his lightsaber. Because
of course.
He have it at any time.
He looks down upon them, innit?
To have it.
Yeah.
Because he didn't see Luke as a threat. And so basically what happens is in this situation is Palpatine goes, not only am I going to beat the Jedi at their own game and beat them with lightsabers, I'm going to fucking flex the shit out of them. I want an entire lightsaber, 2 of them. Fucking gold as shit, motherfucker. Like, take that electrium and cocaine that motherfucker. Like, wrap it around, just like fucking all of it. Not a trim, all the fucking saber. Just put it all over. Just like, because you wanted to flex on Mace.
Nah, for real.
My dick finger, bro. I'm fucking got Vapoz. I'm fucking Mace fucking Windu. You can't stop me, bro. Palpatine's like,
Yep.
bro, hold my beer. You see my fucking lightsaber? He's like, "Look, oh my
Basically.
Yeah,
God.
you don't mess with that.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking
No,
like,
but back to that show, yeah.
I wanted Palpatine show so bad. And
I wanted that show too.
Young Palpatine ever. And like, obviously I want a Palpatine show because I want to see what Plagueis' storyline was. But also, I genuinely curious about how this most evil person in the Star Wars became literally the most evil and most menacing character of our time. Like, you know, I think it's so crazy. We give so much credit to Vader as a villain in Star Wars and, you know, so iconic, right? I don't feel like Palpatine gets the same respect.
Yeah, I feel like with Palpatine, it's like it's expected. You know what I mean? Whereas Vader, it's like the turn and then the scene doing his villainy stuff. That's what makes
Like,
it.
if you literally watch,
I say if people want to know Plagueis, not Plagueis. If they want to know Palpatine, they got to read that Plagueis book because that book is like probably one of the best. Yeah, but definitely one of the best Legends books I've read.
You know, people need to read that and explore on this journey that I want people to see. You want to see how badass Palpatine can be? Read Lords of the Sith. Right after Oh my God.
Yeah.
Vader
I haven't read that in
Palpatine
ages.
open ass in that cave.
Oh
my God. Now that's peak Star Wars writing right there. That shit was
Honestly.
good. Right, we got some things. Vader not appearing in Andor is a slap in the face. Yeah, we read that one. Also, it would make a lot of sense to have both Vader and Bill Organa appear in Andor because Andor is a show at the beginning of the rebellion during the Empire. Look, I think we're probably going to get Bill Organa. A lot of people have kind of hinted that that's going to happen. But for whatever reason, Gilroy just doesn't want to write fucking Vader. He's like, oh, I'm surprised because I know that, they wanted Tony Gilroy to have his own creative freedom.
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy, whenever she gets backed into a corner, she always fucking pulls out Vader out of her ass somewhere.
Yeah,
so,
that's why I don't mind Vader not being in certain things because it's like it's a scapegoat.
My problem is in this timeline, this is the one project I think he should be in.
Yeah,
Because I think this timeline we need characters like him. Because one of the problems I have an issue with Andor, even though we just saw Krennic, even though they just performed Star Wars Grape, which is not great. One of the things I hate is I've been thinking a long time ago, and I know why they did that scene. And if you watch Bad Batch, actually, Bad Batch just schooled Andor when its most recent show came out. Yeah. They found a way to top blowing up a planet with the Death Star and make the Empire so dangerous in animation, not live action. Yeah. And it made sense for what the Empire did. This thing they did in Andor is so unnecessary because it doesn't show the Empire as being ruthless. It shows them being cowards. Because I'm sorry, at this point in the timeline, the Empire should not be caring about people carrying visas when they can blow up planets that are getting ready to get the super weapon for the Death Star. Yeah. And also they have the will of just raiding cities and murdering and pillaging anybody they want.
That's pretty much what it was. But yeah, they've always focused on IDs and stuff like numbers, codes, and stuff like that. Not like visas.
Because in season 1, we literally saw flashbacks of like clones right as they transitioned to stormtroopers, be literally doing full-blown firing squads. And nobody talks about that scene. That was actually, even though people crap on Andor, I think that was one of the better scenes in Andor because it was actually a pretty dark flashback.
Yeah.
To see what the Empire was capable of. And like also, if you want to pull the torture card, Vader was torturing Han Solo very brutally in Empire. And then in season 1, I don't know why we're pushing Bex into another form of torture when she just spent all season 1 being brutally tortured.
Pretty much tortured. Yeah. I understand
So it's
that.
like rinse, repeat, and recycle. How can we torture her but do it differently and make it more impactful for her character? And
Yeah.
I don't like that style of writing.
Yeah, I mean, for
no.
me, I get, but I mean, for me, it's like I get Andor's mature. I mean, obviously, I get Andor's mature, and I understand the context of what it was in it. Like, I don't see it as a grape scene. I just see it as like it's leading to it's leading to assault, and I just think that I get why people are mad at it, but at the same time, I'm just like, well, there were things that were kind of in the hindsight, kind of in the context of things, were that like, you know, when we look at Star Wars as a whole, like especially in the prequels, like especially episode 3, like the Jedi was basically the Jedi was basically genocide. That's basically what it was. Flipping Anakin killing younglings. Obviously, yeah, we never saw it to its like intent of like or whatever, but that's what we implied. Even as a kid, we were like, I knew that already. Like, this is what's gonna happen to the Jedi. It's gonna be extinct because that's what it was. But yeah, obviously, like when I see it, obviously, I understand if some parents were watching Andor and they were like, "Oh, my kid's seen this now." I get that because if you have kids, but then also you got to remember, Andor is for teenagers and adults. It's not for little kids. That particular show, but everything else, Star Wars, pretty much has been for like everyone, basically.
Well, you forget that on Disney Plus, when you go to Andor, it doesn't have the effect of the other projects where you can go and like change the rating on it.
Yeah.
They're still marketing all Star Wars projects can be watched for kids.
Oh, I said, well, that needs to change because I mean, Andor's not for kids. I'm sorry,
and they're not going to because they're considering it a piece of Star Wars. They don't care, bro. They don't care. That's the thing I really have a problem with, is that some kid could turn this on and stumble upon it. And like I said, to us, we don't look at it as a big deal. If a parent is watching their kids have to explain that to someone why that's happening,
yeah,
I think it will be horrifying. And there's other things in Andor that
they should, or at the very least, if they're gonna put it on Disney Plus like that, they should have like a warning that this is very adult.
You know,
not kid friendly.
Let's play devil advocate. Let's see if they changed it. Also, not that we're talking about Star Wars right now, but I do need to talk to you about something, Chris. I do have another doozy thumbnail for you to work. You're gonna be working on a lot of videos for me tonight, and one of my doozy thumbnails that I gotta make tonight is I finally watched episode 2 of The Last of Us, bro, and I gotta tell you, I forget which movie it is, but you remember Baron Mordor from Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
Remember how he said, "I long last see what's wrong with the world." Yeah. I long last see what's wrong with the world, bro. I knew going in because The Last of Us 2 was bad, but bro, everything I said about in episode 1, it's really great. We're gonna see Abby. I teased Jake with it. I didn't think it was gonna bother me. I know a lot of people complain about Abby not being buff, but I'm gonna tell you, man, 2/3 of this episode, the beginning of this episode, really liked the set pieces. Really think it was nuts, right?
Yeah.
But and I knew the ending was coming. But I'm sorry. I know the point is to hate the character, but you want to know what's sad? I don't hate the character. I already hated the character. You know what I hate?
Yeah.
I hate the damn actress.
Well, the actress
who plays Abby.
Yeah, because she could have played Ellie in my eyes personally. But,
the way that she played Abby, she's now my least favorite, most insufferable female I've ever seen. And not because she's playing a character that's horrible, heartless, and evil, right? Her acting was so bad. Bro, she's
not even. Because the thing is, Abby started off being kind of soft and whatnot, but then she grew into that kind of grunt.
And whoever decided to say, okay, that's fucking bullshit. That should not stand. They have Andor labeled on Disney Plus as TV-14, but
PG-14.
But Daredevil Born Again gets a TVMA rating.
Yeah, because but then the thing is you don't need to have. I understand it to an extent because it's for Daredevil, there's a lot of like bone cracking, gore, and or there's not really that, but at the same time, like it's still like an adult themes in there, teenage adult themes in there. So
It almost says
PG-14 is
Andor.
not the worst. That's probably what's that over here? That's like a 12A.
It also says that
Okay,
Andor-
that's all right, I guess.
What
But
says that Andor is some flashing light sequences or patterns may affect. So they're only worried about people having seizures. They keep the TV-14 rating. Like, the fuck? It makes no sense. We got another thing they said. Oh yeah, I read that one, I think, already. No. It's like, it makes no sense. That should not be TV-14 with that episode being out. What does it say about what does it say why Daredevil got the rating? Let's see. Daredevil had.
let me refresh my page because I can't see the chat for a second. One sec.
Yeah, I think it was the same chat that was answered previously. TVMA. It doesn't even say why it's TVMA. It just says TVMA. That's crazy. Who's that?
Yeah, they should really have a warning for Andor, like not for kids or
Put a warning on there. Like it's
Yeah, because that's the thing as well. Like we've been asking for R-rated Star Wars stuff in it, yeah, and like if they're not doing their job by saying, "Oh yeah, this is for M-rated or whatever," then yeah, it's kind of like it's a bit like, well, like bro, we said we wanted an R-rated Star Wars, like make it for adults, teenagers, and adults, and that's it.
Fuck.
You know what I mean?
How is fucking Mufasa the #1 rated project in the US on Disney Plus right now?
I don't even know.
And then Andor's #2.
Yeah.
Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
#5.
But I mean, believe it or not, in regards to the Lion King, I will say this: Mufasa was really good.
Oh, they're getting ready for Lilo and Stitch coming out. The number 10 on the list is Lilo and Stitch 2. Stitch has a glitch.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's like, what? I just don't buy that. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, I mean, and so far, I think the pacing in season 2 has been a lot better than the first one. I will say that.
I do think the pacing is. I am going to try and stick through with it, even though I have my controversial opinions on it.
Yeah.
Because I feel I need to tell people certain things. I need to be able to continue to judge the show for what it is. Joe, could you send me an invite so I could join? Oh, I thought we had one for the chat for you. There's an invite in the chat in the chat we're in, the Legion's chat. Did you not see it? Anything Star Wars and Marvel? Let me see.
Yeah, I think. What's your what are you hoping for a season 2 of Ahsoka, Joe?
For Ahsoka?
Yeah.
1 sec. I'm gonna send this link for him real quick so he can use it. Here's what I hope. I hope Kathleen doesn't meddle, but that might be too much to ask. My biggest hope, the only reason, even though I'm really fed up and really close to being done with Disney Star Wars, I'll say this. The only reason I'm clinging on to it is because the only thing they have going for them is because they already ruined Thrawn. But as shitty as Disney is and as all the mistakes they made, we know one thing is certain.
Mm.
And there's actually two things. You want to know something interesting? And people might attack me for this. The only reason I'm hanging on to Disney Star Wars right now is for one reason and one reason only. Because I'm actually going to say something kind of wild about Ahsoka season 1 while it's not a perfect season that I think people need to be reminded of.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up I'm going to bring up what I consider to be one of the best episodes of Disney Star Wars that nobody talks about anymore.
Yeah.
I think Ahsoka episode 5 is one of the best episodes of Disney Star Wars.
What was number 5 again?
The one where Anakin comes in and...
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, 100%, definitely.
Because my thing, the reason I'm sticking through some of these projects, is because I do think, for all the crap we give Dave Filoni, we saw in the comics in the EU, they talked about George never wanted to show his full potential Anakin, right? We saw in Ahsoka season 1 a taste of full potential Anakin.
Yeah,
and if we see Abeloth in season 2, which is what I really hope we do.
Yeah.
And I know people are iffy on this topic. You want to talk about people making people feel uncomfortable? You know what I want? What I want Ahsoka season 2 to do? I want Ahsoka season 2 to be. I want it to change the game. I want it to. Star Wars has been so much about the same Rats in the same stuff. Like, I know we're gonna have Balon and we're gonna have Sith and we're gonna have all these things. Darksiders.
Yeah.
Hi, anything
But
Star
I want
Wars.
them to do
Hey, Melissa.
I want them to do a heel turn, and
Yeah.
just like Igor said that there was a rumored Star Wars horror project in the works. I think Ahsoka season 2, like when they released the trailers, Ahsoka season 2 needs to have. I know some people like Den of Nerds don't want. Some people want horror in Star Wars. Some people don't. Right?
Yeah.
I absolutely think Star Wars. I actually think horror actually does have a significant place in Star Wars.
Yeah, for sure it does.
And I think, to me, if you want to spice things up and you want to make people, it
It
won't
does.
bring you back to Disney Star Wars. But if you
Yeah.
want to make a complete, just interesting story and want to get people intrigued by what you're making, I think just make a hell of a lot fucking scary, bro.
Yeah,
Make-
for real. I think they should. Yeah.
And if they truly go into the Mortis gods and they convince people to watch that Mortis arc and Clone Wars again, and if Dave,
Oh yeah,
goes back,
yeah.
Dave goes back to peak Dave from the beginning,
Yeah.
where he like starts really like, because my hope is that season 2 is going to reveal that we're now living among the Mortis gods on Peridia.
Oh, 100%. Because even
Like,
with
my
Mortis
hope is
itself-
that, this is what I was thinking. I'm actually going to do a video about this. I think ever since Clone Wars season 3, when it happened, Ahsoka has obviously been the daughter for the longest time. Did you notice that even though he was even though Balin was up there looking for something, you only saw the father statue for like a blink moment, right?
Yeah.
You know why that was?
Right.
Because Anakin is the father.
Anakin's the yeah, I feel like that. Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. And then the thing that's why I'm so excited for season 2, because they said that Hayden isn't a cameo. He has an actual. And after all the buzz we're getting with Revenge of the Sith, I think the more Hayden we get in these projects, the more good things we're gonna get.
Yeah.
Because Hayden,
Yeah,
things with Hayden as well.
Prequels, I feel like right now, despite Hayden being not fully among the living and just being a full-on Force god,
Yeah.
we're gonna get way more interesting storylines with him, because just like with Clone Wars, we saw the light side. Now we're seeing light and dark and full potential Anakin.
Yeah.
And the way that they can bring this, like, my hope, and if they do this, my one request is no more deep fakes. Get an actor. Because what I want is for Abeloth to become such a near and supple force that Ahsoka's getting the shit kicked out of her, Ezra's getting the shit kicked out of her, that Sabine, they can't touch this fucking Abeloth, right? And they Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, this shit. And and you all the same.
I'll be right back, Joe. I'm
You
gonna
get the
get
scene
something.
with the where you get the scene with the ghosts, right?
Yeah.
I heard rumors that Owen and Obi-Wan would be in this show in some capacity. So imagine if you had. What I'm hoping happens is that because we saw how powerful he is in season 1, because he probably can interact. We thought it was cool watching Ahsoka and Anakin fight as like a sparring session, right? I bet you anything, Abeloth affects such because the whole thing about the Mortis gods is they have to make sure the Force stays in balance, right? So if Abeloth threatens the balance, I bet Anakin's able to directly interact within dealing with her. And so what I think could happen is I think even though it didn't happen in season 1, we didn't see this character specifically appear. The reason I mentioned deepfake is I want true Luke Skywalker to appear as an actual actor.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100. Yeah.
And I think Luke will show up, and I think this is the best opportunity to build not only the Luke and Ahsoka bond, but the Luke and Anakin bond.
Yeah.
And to have Luke be powerful, but not enough to stop Abeloth, and then to have father and son be the one to take this
To stop her, yeah.
out.
Okay, that'll be interesting. Yeah.
And then the thing that I think that could really tie this together is with Balin. So we know we have our daughter. Abeloth didn't become a Mortis god; she became a demon of knowledge.
Yeah.
She's the mother. So we have the mother. We have the father is Anakin. The daughter is Ahsoka. So then the biggest question is who the son is, right?
Yeah.
I have that answer as well, because here's the twist I think is actually coming also, right? So in order to make Abeloth an interesting threat, you can't just do a big CGI to quote Fantastic Four. It's not gonna be a big freaking cloud with a scary face, right? I think Abeloth will actually manifest into a Darksider. Like, I think Abeloth will take Shin's soul.
Oh, I think yeah, it's possible because she has the power to do that, so it is definitely possible.
And I think it's a good direction for them to go.
Mm.
And then when it comes to the Sun's return, because I know his statue wasn't there, but Balin said in season 1, power like you never dreamed. Even though Balin is not a Sith, he still clearly believes, similar to Mace Windu, he still clearly believes in the harness of the dark side was more effective than the light side. So I think that I don't know if it will turn him evil or how they're going to do it with Rory McCann, but I would not be surprised if whatever essence is left of the Sun, that dark side creeps in to Balin. And I actually think, respect to Ray, because Ray did an amazing job. I think this recasting is going to be a W because I know we loved how complex Balin was in season 1. I think this Balin might just be straight dark and evil. Like, I think there's still going to be complexity to him, and I think he's still going to be an amazing character. But I think because he's connected to the Sun, I think he will be so much darker.
Yeah, I think with Balin, I think the direction is because he again, like when he came into the season, he was just like very calm, but also like you could tell he had that darkness to him. You know what I mean? But now I feel like with season 2, they're gonna I feel like they need to expand on it and just basically make it a thing like, yeah, this is a guy he basically wants it all. Like, you know what I mean?
I still want a project about him during Clone Wars. I want to see his arc. I want to see how he knew Anakin and how all that came to fruition. In fact, like if they're doing Clone Wars, they're stuff about this new turn-based Star Wars game comes out. If he is playable in that game, I'll lose my shit. Like I think that'd be
dope.
Cool.
That'd be
Well, so I'd love to see a project after Ahsoka season 2 where they do that. I do have hope for Ahsoka season 2 because I do think that there is some potential that we can hopefully, if they don't fuck it up, there is some cool things to go. I think the biggest trump card they have up their sleeve right now, other than Abeloth and other than Anakin, is that they have Balin, and that they're choosing to not deep fake it, to not save it for animated or write it in a comic. They have the permission to bring this character to continue his story. Like they got the permission of Ray's family. Roy McCann is a huge friend to Ray. So he's doing this out of legacy for the respect of his friend.
Yeah.
So Disney does a lot of fucked up stuff. They're not gonna fuck up this character. There's too much at stake with it. And I'm not saying that Disney's beyond fucking up because they fucked up a lot. But I'm just saying Disney couldn't take the heat if they fucked up a legacy like this. After somebody just died in the middle of filming this great character, they can't risk fucking this up.
Yeah, no, they can't. I think if they mess up Ahsoka, then I think everything else is pretty much everything's crumbling. But if they mess up Ahsoka, it's pretty.
I'll finish this big if because Disney Star Wars has fallen a lot of bad ways. If Ahsoka season 2 isn't anything like the things I just pitched and isn't good, and I know people will say, "Oh, Disney has lots of money; they always come back," right? Ahsoka has a big enough fan base that even with all the shows out there, there was already some big heat on season 1. If the heat is bad for season 2, I don't know if we move forward. I think that show is enough that show tags. I think we're kind of done.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of cooked.
Which show are you referring to?
Ahsoka season 2. Like Disney Star Wars can fuck up a lot of things and they can do whatever they want. But when they mess with a big character, they already ruined Thrawn. If they mess anything more in the Ahsoka world, and it gets to the majority of the fans, because all the fans, even with the different factions, even though the shills and the non-shills don't get along, some people are starting to see eye to eye, and certain factions are starting to speak up.
Yeah.
Especially now, the proof is in the pudding with Revenge of the Sith out in theaters. Those hardcore prequel fans, they baited us with Obi-Wan. They baited us with Obi-Wan thinking we're going to get the prequel vibes back.
Yeah.
And that really hurt Disney Star Wars. And that hurt our trust with Disney Star Wars.
Yeah.
If they're able to successfully secure a story to Ahsoka Season 2, because Ahsoka Season 2 has to do two things. It not only, back home, Sinners is a masterpiece, Yes.
Told you, Chris, you'll like it. I told you, Retro, you'll like it.
Yeah, I saw
did not
Sinners. It was a good movie.
People were asking me, why are you praising Sinners so much? Like, you'll see. You'll see why. But so the whole thing I just think of is like the thing that they can't do in this situation is they've fallen so far. But Ahsoka season 2 has to tell a good story, has to be dark, has to have really good vibes, but it also 100% it has to convince us if we are ready for, because I don't know if you watched the interview, but at Star Wars Celebration, people were putting Dave Filoni in a corner asking
I heard. Yeah.
how many storylines in season 2 tie into Dave's movie still is.
Yeah.
And from what I heard, and we still don't know if it's going to be called Heir to the Empire. I still believe it is going to be. But a lot of people believe that the Ahsoka season 2 success hinges on this movie moving forward. Hinges on Ahsoka season 2.
Yeah.
So Ahsoka season 2 needs to be good to narratively allow people to want to be excited for this.
Yeah, I think Dave has a good vision. I just think his writing needs a lot more work.
Well, I think the problem with the writing is I think it's being manipulated. I think he's being forced to hide. I think Dave has always had good writing, but I think there's things behind the scenes that we're not seeing.
Like, of course, definitely.
I think Kathleen's getting in there and changing things.
But I also think, but even still, you should still have, as much as you're changing things or she's changing things, you should still be able to say no, this is what I want. This is how I'm doing it.
Yeah,
because
I think Kathleen, she's not too comfortable and they let her have too much power. So like Palpatine, I think people have tried to overthrow her, but they've been on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's their job and livelihood, isn't it? So I get it.
Every day I hear that she's going to leave, and it never happens, and they keep trying to change the narrative of her leaving. So something is going on.
It's either she's leaving or she's stepping down. I heard that she's stepping down from the role, not leaving, but she's stepping down.
I'd be fine with her stepping down if she loses power. Like Palpatine, if someone took her emergency power, a lot of people will be like, oh, I want her out of the company. If she's not hands-on with things anymore, and she just is producing from the side, but has no creative input after all, I'd be fine with that. As long as you shove her into the corner. And honestly, and I'll say this, I know he's an actor, but to me, I still say what I said, and I know people might not believe this.
Yeah.
This might be the first time. I think the only person that can pull Disney Star Wars from the ground, and hopefully, because one thing that nobody's talking about, you know what's interesting? You talk about being excited about Ahsoka season 2, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what the most important Star Wars project is right now?
Yeah.
The mall show.
Yeah.
Because
I think so.
I'm sure Dave Filoni's involved, but here's why it's important, right? If this project is successful, it's not because of Disney. It's not because of Dave Filoni. It's not because of Kathleen Kennedy. It's because they revealed when they announced the project that Sam is reading all the scripts.
Yeah, Sam is making sure. Yeah, no, he gets it, man. He gets it.
I'm telling you, if he can do this, if he can make a mall show and his creative vision is the thing that makes this click. Because I noticed in interviews, Hayden Christensen and Dave Filoni have a mutual understanding. Like Dave brought him back, so they work together, and Hayden does whatever the script says that Dave wants, right?
Yeah.
But I noticed that's not the same for Sam Witwer.
Yeah.
Sam Witwer's not afraid to challenge Dave.
Yeah, no, and I think that's what needs to happen. We need more people like that.
And so that tells me that, to me, I think the safest hands that Star Wars could be in, and I know people might think this is crazy because I know he was there at the time, and I know that he saw a lot of potential in Dave. But I wish there would have been some vision out there where George would have mentored Sam instead of Dave.
Yeah.
But I think we would be living in a different era. Because I think if Sam is seen as more than just a voice actor for such an iconic character to bring a character to life, I think he's the future of the company.
For sure.
I think he's the only one that knows.
I think if they were to change the company from Disney to somebody else and then get Sam under to be the head, I'll be on board.
He's doing right now, if Sam has the creative overhead job, Sam doesn't need to be president. But if he's in charge of all the creative decisions, when somebody tries to bring up the springboard of the Acolyte season 2, not happening, bro. Just
I wonder, did he even say what his thoughts was on the Acolyte? I want to know his thoughts on what he thought on the Acolyte
I
personally.
wonder if I can find anything. He went after Last Jedi. Like he did was one of the ones that was able to stand his ground. Like he gave a nuanced take on it. Like he didn't bash the shit out of it. But
yeah. I think I remember that he basically said it wasn't Star Wars. It didn't feel like Star Wars. But yeah, I think Sam has a good direction, not just with his character more, but he has a good direction of how Star Wars is. Like, would these people really act like this? Would this person act the way? Would the Jedi really be like this? Would the Sith be like this? Like, he's always thinking about what they would really be like.
Asking the questions, and he knows what they should be. And it's wild to me that people forget that Sam, despite him playing such a high-level character, this man streams on Twitch. Like this man interacts with Star Wars fans and is like. And I met him when I met him, I only got to talk to him and Ray for a minute. But even though I love Ray Park and Ray Park will always be a legend, just talking to him for 5 minutes, I would have thought because I was there for the 20th anniversary for Phantom Menace that I would have been more excited to see Ray. But even though I love that Ray Park is the physical embodiment of Maul, ever since Clone Wars, I just really have adjusted to Sam being Maul. I'm trying to think if I could do a line, but I don't know if you know this, but until Clone Wars came out, I didn't know how to do Maul's voice perfect. So in terms of impressions, a lot of people have really good Palpatine. Like Tony says, he has a really good Palpatine. I probably have the best Maul in the entire I wouldn't say all Star Wars community, but I'd say of our friend circle, I think I have the best Maul. Yeah. I'm trying to think of a line of because I haven't done it in a while, but I'm trying to think something I would say that he said in Clone Wars that would work. What was one of his popular ones?
What was it when he was with Ahsoka?
I know he always said revenge. I know. He said there's something he said to Savage that was really that was really good. Let me see. Let me get some water real quick because if I'm gonna do this, I gotta do this right. Because I cannot mess up my goat when he's on the wall back there behind me.
Yeah, got to be in tip-top performance, huh?
Yeah.
I love this character more than any other character. So I have to make sure that it's done 100% right. I haven't done this in a while. Okay. Let's see. All these two there are my brother, a master. And an apprentice. So there's that one, but my nose got all stuffed.
Looks like anything. Star
Wars trying to come back.
Sorry, guys, my stupid internet.
Oh, your internet was being kicked out. Oh, the latest draft of X-Men reportedly features Mr. Sinister in the movie. Oh, that would be cool. I'd be interested to see how that handles for the X-Men. Oh, there's another. This is two, my brother.
May I say something, Joe? Because I've been waiting to speak for the longest.
Oh yeah, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah. What I was trying to say before was in terms of do I think Sam Witwer understands Star Wars? Do I think he could actually do something really good in the future in terms of Star Wars? Absolutely, because Disney, and I've said this multiple times, Disney doesn't understand Star Wars, guys. Let's be honest. They don't understand.
That's what we're talking about.
Because I think it's amazing, in my honest opinion. It's amazing how, when the fans come together, they make some really interesting stuff. Yeah. And someone on YouTube pointed out that, this is why, the stuff that came before Disney is the true canon, because what Disney's doing right now, it just doesn't feel canon. It doesn't feel good. For example, The Acolyte. I'm like, no, this is not Star Wars. And then I got Joe telling me about that controversial scene from season 2, episode 3 of Andor. I'm like, this doesn't belong in Star Wars. George, if George was involved in The Acolyte or Andor, full well he wouldn't have approved stuff like that. Even Dave Filoni wouldn't even approve things like that, because even with Dave, you got to admit, even with Dave, he knows it's not Star Wars.
I used to have a lot of issues with Dave, and then I realized that Dave's not the problem, because one of the issues I used to have with Dave was I thought that he was the one that greenlit a lot of the major decisions in the Acolyte, but apparently, when Leslie Headlands first drafted the Acolyte and Kathleen, and they did their draft, Dave apparently fought against some. We didn't see the worst changes, even though the Acolyte was bad. It was going to be even worse than what we saw.
Yeah.
And I guess Dave fought.
Yeah.
W Dave, honestly.
No,
Right,
I'll
but this is
give
what
him
I'm
his
talking
props. Give him his props for sure.
Yeah,
I think we
exactly.
have to
But this is what I'm talking about. That the Acolyte and Andor, they don't feel like Star Wars.
If I ever did get to corner Dave, I would say, Dave, I respect you, man, but you made not only Clone Wars, but you made Rebels. How could you stand there and let them ruin your character? How could you let them ruin the Grand Inquisitor? That would be my
Yeah, I feel bad for Dave.
I would corner him on that because I would get in his face and say, bro.
I just thought that was my problem with Kenobi as well. Like, how the hell did Reva just kill him so quickly?
Don't give me started. Kenobi. That's the worst.
And then he came back and he did nothing. It's like what?
Exactly. And it's like, bro, this is he did so much more in Rebels.
I'm sure the actor was a nice guy, and I'm sure he would have done all right. But bro, Draco Malfoy's dad, you still had Jason Isaac that could still put him in the white makeup and still make him act and be amazing.
Can I say
you got Jason Isaac to play the Grand Inquisitor in live action. You got Jason Isaac to play him.
It would have been great.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Chosen?
That would have been incredible.
Because he was a legend. He was an absolute legend.
Mm-hmm.
I would love an Inquisitor project about the peak Inquisitors.
Yeah, not right now though. I think, but I think I like the Inquisitors because I think it's like a lot of people like with the Inquisitors, like this is the argument that I always make is that as much as they're reckless, they still act within that Inquisitor order because again, you're under Darth Vader. So if you mess up, he'll come at you. And then the thing is with that as well, people try to argue. I remember when Fallen Order first came out, like probably I'll say a couple months after it came out, everybody played it pretty much.
Yeah.
Triller was an Inquisitor. So was the other sister, the third sister.
Yeah.
Right. So they tried to say that, why does Triller get so much praise, but Reva doesn't? It's because Reva doesn't act within the Inquisitor order. She acts on her own premise. Like that's the problem that you need to understand. Like that's why Triller is revered the way she is. And also her backstory was short to the point, didn't affect anything of the original lore or story.
You guys think
Reva's did because she died in the temple. And not only did she die in the temple, Vader brought her back. And then now she dies again when they're on that planet. I'm thinking, but we all know the temple. We all know Order 66. We don't have to read. I've read comics and books on Order 66, right? Yeah. Even if it wasn't about Order 66, they always previewed it. That this is what happened that all 10 years prior, 5 years prior, whatever. It was a massacre. So no one survived. There's no way Darth Vader would have saved this one child just so they can make her Inquisitor. No, that doesn't make any sense.
Also, like
the only person I could see him going back for is maybe Ahsoka. If Ahsoka was there, I could get it. But it's not Ahsoka. This is a random child he doesn't even know, has no bearings to. That's the problem.
And bro, you know what really hurts to me that I think is insane is the thing that I think is absolutely insane is, and they did have a second chance of doing it in Mando season 3, they didn't do it, but the first chance they really screwed up. How dare you show the Jedi that are surviving in the temple to fight up where Reva is and the Padawans to fight against the clones, right? But why, when you want to do so much with the hype for the prequels and Hayden and Hayden and being Vader and also what Vader was like in his prime before he got the suit, right? Yeah. Instead of having to get like, if you really want to do something cool, instead of making a whole show where you break canon and you have Vader, we lost anything Star Wars and Marvel again. You break canon, you have Vader, you break canon, you have Vader and Obi-Wan fight, right? I would have loved it when they started the show if especially, and this is where their first mistake is, and I know Star Wars would agree with this, is they didn't bring back not only Sanjalik to go and do the choreography, but imagine if the opening scene of Obi-Wan we saw a battle between multiple Jedi Masters left at the temple, where Nick Gillard choreographed it, and he fought Anakin. Because look, I never
like I was in the game, because in the game it was sick.
Look, I never have to see. I'm perfectly fine with the implied nature of we never have to see Anakin kill kids on screen, right? I'm fine with it. That's okay. I get why we will never do that. But the thing I never understand is we talk about the legacy of Darth Vader if you take the books and the video games out of the situation, you're just looking at the movies.
Yeah.
Look at how many Jedi Anakin has faced down as Vader. Obi-Wan and Luke. That's it. That's all his face. So like Obi-Wan.
And also too, something else I want to point out. I agree, Spider-Man. Like Kenobi is the worst.
They dropped the ball.
Because for one thing, they just kept repeating in every episode, repeating over and over again. Nothing new.
I feel like the actor
and another thing, they ruined my favorite character in that show, Darth Vader, bro. He wasn't the same. I'm sorry. Whatever they did to my boy in that show, I don't like it. The scene where he chokes Reva when he's like, "Oh, you were warned what defeat would bring." I'm like, that's not Vader, bro. What are you doing?
The writing for Vader made no sense. The writing for Vader made
If it was Vader, Vader would have just straight up. If it was me, I would have had Vader in that scene just kill Reva right there because that's Vader. That's Vader.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She would have straight up killed him.
Yeah, because that's Darth
Vader.
No questions asked. That's what I was trying to say. Like with Triller, once she tried to get a little bit of redemption, Vader killed her. Said straight, "You failed me," and just swiped her back. So like, that's what he does. Like I just don't
even when Vader did stab her, I still would have had Vader grab his lightsaber and just finish her off. Because that's Darth Vader. That's Vader. That's one of the problems I didn't like about Vader in the Kenobi show. Yeah. I'm like, okay, Vader, you had your chance twice to kill Reva. Because Reva tried to betray you. She failed you. You had every right to, do your thing as a Sith Lord and kill her for good. But he just let her live. I'm like, no, that's not Darth Vader. Darth Vader would just finish her.
No.
This is what people don't understand. Darth Vader doesn't let people live.
He would just walk. He would just walk straight up to her and kill her.
And that's the thing. Even with the humanity left in Anakin at that point, there's no way, turn her or not turn her. There's no way that he would have let her live. There's no way.
There's no chance.
To Underground's point about the comics, look, they did the comics, but I'm telling you, bro, like you thought it was cool, like with Ahsoka, like showing Anakin's like full light side potential. If we would have saw it was on that hologram, like I wanted like what I thought was important is I thought Disney was gonna do something impossible, right? I thought we were following a trend because I noticed a trend in Disney Star Wars, right? And hear me out on this trend, okay? In Rogue One, we got this insane scene where Vader shows up and horror movie style obliterates the rebels, right?
Yeah.
Then later, we got the scene that nearly restored people's faith in Luke Skywalker after what they did to him in Last Jedi, seeing Luke go and defeat those Dark Troopers, right? And then even in the middle of that, we had Maul even got a hallway fight scene using the Force, turned into an army of clone troopers, right?
Yeah.
We had Maul, we had Luke, we had Vader. Well, what's left? What have we not seen yet? We didn't get a straight up hallway fight, not with Vader, when Anakin. So if you guys read your lore, Anakin loses a lot of his power when Obi-Wan cuts him down in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, so, he loses like 20% of his potential.
Game, you guys will know that if Anakin would have not been cut down, Obi-Wan was not walking away from that fight.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. Yeah.
Anakin was fucking ruthless, and like I
Yeah, he
wanted
was.
I wanted to see Hayden Christensen like grab what if you want to talk about dark scenes, you want to see him talk about something they should have done even better than, which would have served a better purpose than this fucking what's it called, the fucking grape nonsense assault that they planned on doing. You know what would have been much better for Star Wars? You want to show a dark narrative? You have fucking Vader as Anakin with the dark side grab Jocasta Nu when she's trying to protect the children in the temple, right? And he does what he does in the game. Force choke grabs her, slams her into the bookcase, redirects her into his saber, and just stabs the shit out of her. That would have been insane.
For real.
And then like the Jedi, like imagine the temple guards left in the temple at the time. I mean, imagine Anakin in a water. Imagine Anakin in a water, just like in the hallway scene, right?
Yeah,
imagine
true.
the hallway of Jedi. And something I started thinking about that's even more interesting that nobody thought about, and this makes me even more mad at Mando season 3. You know what would make Mando season 3 actually have an amazing flashback scene? This is why they fucked him twice. You know when they introduced Jar Jar's actor playing that Jedi that saved Grogu?
Yeah.
Quentin Beck.
In that room of Jedi, instead of those when those doors open, instead of it being those clones, I was praying that they were going to keep it out of all the trailers, and we are going to watch it for the first time, and we were just going to see Revenge of the Sith classic Anakin hoodie with the blue lightsaber, open the door up, and just cut down. Because that's the thing I hate is like we see Vader do some really cool things in the comics, but we don't see Anakin on his rise to Vader except for the video games and the comics. Go crazy.
Yeah, for real.
I want to see him at the height of his power go fucking crazy.
We've got a more in detail. We've got a more in detail Order 66 stuff from the video games and the books and comics and stuff than like we've gotten in live action, because like for years we've been wanting to see what happened inside the temple, but we just had to read books, comics,
right?
Video game, like even the video game, like they explained it.
Fucking phone.
Yeah.
They could have done that even Old Republic style, where like you had the Jedi.
Fuck you!
What happened?
Wait, what's going on?
What happened? Anything Star Wars and Marvel? Is the Wi-Fi being stupid?
What's going on?
I think we lost him. Connection.
Were you screaming about something? Is his phone mad? Because his picture's still there.
Yeah, but I think he's frozen.
He's here. He hasn't been kicked yet.
Yeah, he's frozen on my screen. But
yeah, maybe he got frozen.
I hope everything's okay though.
Honestly, I think Restream hates me and anything Star Wars.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll be helping out Joe with OBS soon, so we'll be doing it on Discord.
Sometimes I feel like it hates me. Sometimes I feel like it hates me too.
I mean, I could have done StreamYard, but like I just like on a consistency. I wasn't very consistent on like I've been doing my podcast on this one lately because we all had done it, but I forget that it always kicks you guys out. So I don't know how long my limit is, so I didn't want to mess with it, but I could have messed with it and seen what happened. But I mean, the bottom line is it makes no sense. Nobody has made a compelling argument to me about in the Obi-Wan show why we didn't get we got like a little scene of Obi-Wan being haunted by Anakin's like ghost of him being there in the background of the planet, right? But there was no, they didn't capitalize on what Order 66 was. Like
that's my big problem with the show.
That's why even though I don't like Disney Star Wars, if Hayden had creative control and if Sam had creative control and you had good people working on it, Hayden was talking about at a celebration that he wants to still play Vader.
Yeah,
not
I understand.
And like in the concept of like a Vader show, right? And I'm gonna say, well, that was the prequel. I'm like, no, that was more focused on like I still say I've said this since day one. And while Hayden is still young enough to do it, I think now is the chance. We need to get a post Revenge of the Sith, or even in the middle of Revenge of the Sith, like a Vader first, like Vader with his Republic Commandos, tearing through people, just There's so many
Yeah,
layers.
I've said this years ago. Like, we need to see, like, we need to see we need a Star Wars film where it's basically called Vader Jedi. It's called Jedi Killer because that's what his name was in the comics when he took out
That's what
Jedi
we
and stuff.
need to see, man.
That's
That
what we
shit
need
is
to
so
see.
I
crazy.
Like,
agree,
for
bro. That
years,
would have been
he took
sick.
out so many. Like, there was even rumor. Obviously there was rumors of him taking on 8 to 12 Jedi's at a time that were scattered across the world. Even if it was 5 or whatever, people still believed it because it was believable at the time because of how powerful he was. So it's just like
Vader
things
was
like
so
that,
that like when people look at it's so
you know.
interesting that
And the
like
thing is, that's like a spin-off. That's not really a part of the trilogy or anything. That's his
yeah.
own
Yep.
story. You could do
And
that
even
as his
when
own
I've seen people
story.
do the debate of like when the MCU started birthing like the connection between Thanos and Vader.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Vader's taking that fucking Infinity Gauntlet off his hand. He ain't touching.
Bro,
He ain't touching
imagine
Vader.
no, hold on. Imagine Vader with Infinity's gauntlet, bro. That would be crazy.
We better all run and commit suicide today then, because
Yep.
that ain't happening, bro. He's powerful enough as it is. You want to see that's gonna get into Dragon Ball category. Like if George Lucas was there, he'd be like, "You see, we got this Infinity Gauntlet over here, and I feel like I think he could do some real damage with that." And you see, when I invented the nuance of Vader, you know, he had to level up when Anakin went and did this thing, and you see, it's like
Yeah.
that George Lucas impression is pretty spot on. By the way.
You know my big problem with Kenobi is, Joe? My big
That
problem with
Vader and Obi-Wan
Kenobi
they never met.
no, it's the final fight between them. I don't like
Yeah.
how I didn't like how rushed it was. And also, can they stop with the shaky cameras, please? That's my
I
big
did
problem
not
with the
want them to meet because now they ruined the most iconic moment in A New Hope, and I'm pissed about it.
Yeah, they haven't.
I
I will
hate
Don't get
say
me
did it
wrong. Like, it
every
was
time
good.
I watch. Every time I
The
watch A New
fight
Hope,
was
every time I watch New Hope,
moment.
I hate the when I met you, I was with the learner. Now I am the master. I'm a master of evil now, Darth. Like, no, it's ruined now.
Yeah,
They
like,
ruined it.
I wonder though. I really wonder though because since that was before A New Hope, I really am curious if, like, ever since that moment, Vader was like, "Okay, you beat me in that fight. I'm gonna make sure I'm better than you in A New Hope." And then that's where we get the New Hope, and he's so much better than him now. He's the
They
master.
ruined it
yeah,
because
yeah.
they ruined it because the last time in that scene, it states that in that scene that when they fought, Obi-Wan and Anakin were master and apprentice facing off.
You know what? They should have just released Obi-Wan. That's the thing. They should have just released Obi-Wan way before A New Hope came out because it does not make any sense if you really watch it.
There's so
I just
many other cool things you could have done with Vader without him having to ever meet Obi-Wan. Like,
or you
That's-
could have had a show. You could have had the show be focus on Vader mainly, just Vader mainly.
well, what you could have done is you could have done 2 arcs. So you made the episodes longer. You had more, and you had more episodes in general. What I would have done,
Yeah,
I would have done what they did in the books. I would have had it where Obi-Wan didn't use the lightsaber throughout the entire series, and he's trying to defend Tatooine. He never leaves Tatooine, and they do the kung fu arc that he goes on against the Tusken Raiders, right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then he goes to the bar, and he learns about Anakin being Vader. It torments him, and at the same time, Vader sends the Inquisitors after Obi-Wan, so Obi-Wan still gets to fight and eventually gets his lightsaber and go and fights people that he can fight that isn't Vader, right? So
Yeah.
many different ways of seeing. But then, while that's happening, Vader finds out where the hidden path of the other Jedi are.
Mm.
And then Vader's arc in the show is you get Vader versus Quinlan, Vader versus all these other characters, and like Palpatine said to Newt Gunray, wipe them out, all of them. Like you
And
just
you know, and that's the thing, Joe. That's a good idea. And then you know what the ending could have been? The ending could have set up A New Hope, and that's how you can like really like it will
Well,
show that.
you know,
Oh,
they could have. You know what they could have done, too, is that they could have had a show entirely dedicated to showing us how Vader became Dark Vader. You know, like
they
going back to
basically had like
no, what I mean is like showing it from the beginning through his
Yeah.
childhood, all the way
mean,
from the
I
beginning,
feel like-
all the way seeing how. So helping us like understand why he became the way he did, and even feeling a little bit of sympathy for him, you know?
Didn't we
Understand-
kind of get that though? Didn't we kind of get that though? And
Yeah, that is that. I mean, the prequels explain that, but then I feel like the Clone Wars did a good job of explaining like Anakin's past and stuff, because especially with
yeah, and that too.
the Honzo arc, especially that when Honzo
Oh yeah,
came
the
about,
Clone
yeah,
Wars
with the
did a
slave
great
trade.
job. I'm just talking
know.
about like sort of like like forget like flashbacks, but like actually doing like a series about like showing Darth Vader through childhood, you know? Like
I mean,
Oh,
I
you're
don't
talking
see-
before the Jedi. Okay, right. Okay. I
Yeah.
get you.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
could
I mean, yeah,
have
like,
more layers on that. They could have done something like that.
Yeah.
I would much rather get Anakin his prime slaughtering the Jedi Masters that were meant
Oh,
to be.
100%. Oh,
One of the things
100%.
Yeah,
One of the
Absolutely.
things I think that's so interesting,
100%
people don't know,
agreed.
one of the things I love about
Yeah,
Anakin that
I
people
think-
don't know about Anakin, unless they really understand his character, is
Hmm.
Anakin, even on the dark side, the reason he loses to Obi-Wan is his overconfidence. And
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anakin was so overconfident, even as a Padawan, he was spitting in Jedi faces, saying that he was, even as a Padawan, the best lightsaber duelist. Like, he would be like, oh, no
Yep.
one has my technique, and no one has this, and no one knows how to spin like me. And I just loved his overconfidence. I will say this, Steve, there's much I have problems with the Obi-Wan show, Underground. I like the, I am not your failure, Obi-Wan. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, I did. There
Yeah.
was some good moments in that show, but the problem was it's just as a whole, it's like it's like it
Yeah,
could've been
yeah, no,
so
I
much
agree.
better.
I like there were some things that I liked about it. Like I liked Princess Leia, you know, seeing her like how she
Even though
you
I
know, like
didn't-
how she understanding like how like this is how it started for her.
the only thing I don't like about that is even
You
though I
know,
love what they
defending
did,
Jedi.
and I think she was great and she had a beautiful performance. The only thing I really wish, and I know a lot of people probably don't complain about this, and they like the scenes between them. I love young Leia. God, I really did not want Leia and Obi-Wan to meet though, because
Yeah, no, same. I didn't want that
because
either.
they take away, just like with the Vader and Obi-Wan thing, they take away the you served my father in the Clone Wars. Like now we don't have that,
Yeah, you can't have that. Yeah, that's not.
which
Yeah.
sucks. Because the whole point is that
you know another thing I did liked about the one thing I did liked about the fight between Obi-Wan and Vader, and this is actually after the fight. This line still hits me when Vader's like, "Anakin's gone. I am what it remains." I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
damn.
definitely. Like I think my problem with Obi-Wan in that as well is that like because I've read the Legends book when he was on Tatooine and everything like that for like the whole time, like it just kind of like it's like he was training and shit. And I'm thinking like, but he was training in the book. He said he was training, he was meditating, he was still training using the Force. But then in the show, it was like he lost connection, and I'm thinking, but why would he lose connection when he was practicing to speak to Qui-Gon and still using the Force and
it
things
just
like
doesn't
that?
fit right when
That doesn't just that bothered me because I was just like,
it
no.
doesn't fit right as much
The
as-
only way a Jedi loses connection is if they completely cut themselves off from the Force.
Well, you know
Obi-Wan
what?
didn't do that.
I still think, and people can have their suspicions what they want. You know why I think that they did that? I still think that they tried, and I think that even though I don't love the show, I will give them credit for this. I think they were trying to repair the damage from a previous Disney Star Wars project. I think they're like, well, we had so much more time with Anakin, so we can make people believe that Obi-Wan would go into isolation more than what happened with Luke. And so I think they tried to remedy that because they could use the Clone Wars to fall back to trauma, you know? And I think that was a mistake because I think that, like, I like the version of the Legends version where Luke is supposed to meditate, and not Luke, Obi-Wan's supposed to meditate and he's supposed to protect Luke. And what happens is the Tusken Raiders, you know, be on the planet being crazy and being strong and a problem. Luke just starts going. Oh, not Luke. Obi-Wan just starts going full on like Donnie Yen, like John Wick, just like whooping.
Yeah. I'm for real. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm thinking like
I've seen these stupid complaints. People said, "Oh, if Obi-Wan was on Tatooine, it would be a boring show." I'm like, no, it would not.
it wouldn't be boring. No. Because even the guy that they had for because they were because the Kenobi was supposed to be originally a 3-part movie. The guy that they had the vision, and he even said like the first film was going to be about Obi-Wan finding his connection back to the Force. And
No,
obviously,
much as I love that we got an Obi-Wan show, I'll be honest. I would have liked an Obi-Wan trilogy. Haven't watched it yet, Minecraft fan. I gotta figure out how to watch it. But I was gonna say on point. I do wish that we got Obi-Wan movies instead. Cause I just think McGregor's stuff that we saw in the prequels, a lot of we praise Hayden a lot, but I don't think a lot of people realize how much the impact McGregor had on the prequels as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Obi-Wan is still I'm crazy. And here's the thing that people don't realize: when you watch the original trilogy before the prequels, you don't have that connection to Anakin as a character until the Hayden Christensen thing comes in, where George wanted it to fit with the continuity, right? So like to have this Obi-Wan fully come into full out Al McGinnis mode later is beautiful.
Yeah.
Because they're different takes, and that's why I'll be honest. While I do like what we got in the prequels, Obi-Wan and Anakin, because we saw so much of their bickering. Even though we have to repeat some storylines unless they showed parts of the Clone Wars we didn't do. I heard rumors that we're going to get a lot of flashbacks of Ahsoka season 2 of like the Clone Wars era, and I do think that in case Disney just keeps bombing these projects, I do think that Dave has a contingency plan that if his movie doesn't get off the ground, that he just plans to make a Clone Wars movie, because I think he knows the Clone Wars movie with the young Ahsoka actor, with Hayden, with Ewan, I think that movie will make money.
Yeah.
So I think
bro, that would be crazy. Yo,
I think Lucasfilm has that as a contingency. But that might even be the backup plan. If Kathleen just keep trying to do shitty shit and ruin everything, they might just be sitting there, have it ready to go, and be like, "Oh yeah, we got it ready."
Yeah, but that's the thing.
And that's the thing. You know my big issue with the Kenobi show, and I actually have two issues with it. First off, the show shouldn't be called Obi-Wan Kenobi. It should be called the Reva show because it was mainly focused on Reva. And second of all, we barely got any flashbacks. That's my other issue with the show. Like we only got like one flashback or two flashbacks. I'm like, we need more.
That's one of the things.
That's the vision that the other guy had, because
that's what I can't wait about. That's why I can't wait about Ahsoka season 2. Is I have heard that from my sources that if there is Clone Wars flashbacks, they'll be more extensive than season 1.
Yeah.
And I have heard that one of the things that Hayden and Ewan were most excited about was that we're finally going to see more of them together during Clone Wars, and Obi-Wan is going to finally be wearing the armor.
The armor and that,
Yo, Ahsoka season 2 is gonna be great, bro. And even with the Balon recast, that's amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
I think okay. I hope it's good.
Yeah, but I do hope it's good. Like the first season was good, but there could have been some parts could have been a lot better for me. But
to fix Thrawn, Dave just needs to fix Thrawn.
Yeah, honestly.
I think even with the Balon recast, I am so glad they.
Did I tell you guys about this crazy theory I had about? You remember in the end of season 1 about how they went back to Dathomir?
Yeah.
I think I know what Thrawn's plan is going to be. That could lead into the Heir to the Empire movie that could make things pretty interesting. So I've been thinking about this a long time, right? Because a lot of people, when they think Dathomir, immediately people jump to, please don't undo Maul's death in Rebels, right?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people always think that that's after how Disney loves to fucking fuck up Vader, a lot of people, that's who they're going to go for next, right? I got a much simpler solution since he's already only died once and can easily be brought back, and we even had the actor in season 1 of Ahsoka. I've been thinking about this theory because it'd be crazy to see him again, especially in live action. You know what I've been thinking about lately, Chris? I think we might see Savage Opress back in Ahsoka season 2.
Really?
Ooh.
I think Thrawn's going to reincarnate him as one of his zombies, but instead of having a trooper, he's going to be tossing these fucking Jedi around. You watch Clone Wars, that bro was fucking on steroids, man.
Yeah, Savage was sick. I liked him.
I want Savage back.
Yeah.
There's no canon.
Yo, imagine him fighting Ezra, bro.
Fucking Ezra's going to get tossed
That'd
out.
be sick, yeah.
That's like Ezra versus the Hulk.
Bro, that fight, even with that fight itself, I could see.
I hope they don't do some BS where they make. I hope they really show out Ezra in season 2, because I feel like with Ezra, as he's older and more in his prime, I want to see him much more like quick, like
I want to see him
doing.
a much more skilled person.
So-
I'm really mad that like they built up all the hype over him not having the lightsaber until the end, and then they didn't make him look super cool with his super confident force abilities. I thought he was gonna be doing like fucking Street Fighter, like Dragon Ball shit, like with the force, and they never did that. She was lost chosen again. Reese been really
Oh man.
like I wanted to see that shit. I wanted to see him literally like Kamehameha, like Kamehameha wave, just cool.
Yeah.
Like that shit would have been awesome.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind even after Ahsoka, if once they're done with it, I wouldn't mind seeing what they do with Ezra. I wouldn't mind seeing Ezra and Kanan's son on their own journey, like as Jedi.
That'd be cool to see him.
That'd be cool.
Another character.
Ezra, because Ezra is a big character, and I'd imagine they have some plans of what to do with him.
You know another character I'm excited to see in season 2? And Joe, you know this character that I'm excited to see. Shin, bro. I'm excited to see her back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, Shin was cool. I liked her. Like,
Yeah,
she didn't say much,
Joe knows the trend about why I'm excited to see her back. He knows it. He's seen my reaction.
Definitely.
She's one of my personal favorite characters in the show.
Yeah, I think Shin
is good. I hope season 2 is really good. Well, yeah, better than the first at least, I'll say.
Yeah, like people call her. What do people call her again? The nickname, Joe. What do people call her? Shin what?
Shin Baddie.
Yeah.
Shin Baddie. Oh my goodness! Wow.
It's a true nickname. People said, yeah, I gotta check that out. Monica fan. Yeah, I don't know. I really think like with Dave Filoni's power at Lucasfilm, the Ahsoka season 2 show. If we want to see what his movie's like, this is our best chance to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
Also, I know people love her. I know she needs an actress. I don't know if they would ever do this. I know that they recast Balin because of the fact that they did that they did what's it called? That because the actor died. But I still feel like even though they did bring her around towards the end of the season, there's a part of me, even though I think Hayden and Rosaria have become great friends.
Yeah.
I still, to this day, and I don't know why, maybe I'm crazy, but maybe it's just the fact that Sam gets to be Maul and it just works. I still think that if they needed an older Ahsoka to look more mature, they could have used like Rosaria as like the body of Ahsoka, right?
Yeah.
But I think they should have had Ashley voice Ahsoka. Because I feel like Dave, as a person who loves what he created, I feel like he's doing Ashley's a disservice. And don't get me wrong, Ashley's been super cool and super kind about that her role was taken from her and that she never had to play her in live action. But at the same time, I think Ashley put a lot of work in that character and she deserves to play her in live action.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the thing is, I mean, Ahsoka was supposed initially it should have been CGI. That's what the plan was, to be CGI, but then they said live action. And I feel like, why live action? Because it's literally after Rebels. Why not just keep it to the code of way it should be? I feel like it would be a lot better if it was CGI.
They can live action her, but they can add more CGI elements to her to make her a good blend. And they could have made her look better. I'm fine with her look. I think my problem is I didn't like that they, in season 1, I love Rosaria, but I didn't like that she was doing this the entire time and being all powerful.
Yeah, the folding arms. Yeah, I even said that. I was just like, yeah, that's a bit like.
We need her to be optimistic and hopeful. That's
like because she was quite like in this one. I understand she's been through a lot, and I get it. Like maybe that's why they went with that direction, but she's not that lifeless though. That's the thing. Even in Rebels, when she lost all that stuff, she wasn't that lifeless.
We do know that they're going to be on Peridia in season 2 a lot. So hopefully, when she hangs around Anakin again, hopefully we'll get like the Sky Guy.
A bit more. Yeah. Of course, definitely.
Even beyond the grave, Anakin.
Hopefully, her and Sabine's relationship is a bit better. I feel like my problem with that as with Ahsoka was I didn't like how Ahsoka and Sabine's relationship was kind of like distant and whatever, because I just thought like they were like, I'm sorry, but like I still say to this day, I do not see Sabine as a Jedi. I just don't. I see her as a Mandalorian. I don't know why they did that, because it just, to me, it just feels like, well, I mean, she was fine as a Mandalorian. They went on that journey together.
They forced it because they went against George Lucas's legacy, where they like took what George Lucas had said at one point about anybody could be a Jedi as a concept, and then they just took that.
Yeah, they just overused it. Yeah.
And I think Sabine as a character, I think the thing that hurts so much is because Dave loves these characters and created them. I would have thought that he would have took more care of Sabine because Sabine was such a big character to him. And Sabine, they did so much work with Kanan alive to prove why Sabine being lightsaber trained was enough. She didn't need to have the Force. Like, they did so much to set her up for that battle with Gar Saxon. They set her up perfectly for not being a Jedi. And it's like, I feel like it's because of the lore that they set up, that they really want to have another heir to Tar Vizsla. And they didn't do it with Din, thank God, but I would have thought there probably was a plan somewhere with him inheriting the Darksaber, right? But like, I feel like they wanted that so desperately. That's why one of the biggest mistakes I think that they made is if I would have made Disney Star Wars and I would have done the Mando story, and the Mandoverse would have been so different if I would have wrote it, especially season 3, because I had such a better pitch for season 3. And what I would have done is the entire time Sabine and Din are arguing about who's going to rule Mandalore and how they're going to fight through their cause. We have to see that. I would have given Boba his redemption, and I'd had Boba come in because in season 2, she was talking about, he's just a clone. You know, he doesn't have Mandalorian.
Yeah, he doesn't have the true Mandalorian.
I would have had him come in as, instead of ruling Tatooine, he should have been the true ruler of Mandalore. Because if you look at his history with his father, Jasper Real is a huge part of like his Mandalorian heritage. And I think Boba ruling, if he's gonna rule, because I'm not gonna lie, man, I trust Sam a lot, but there's this little voice in the back of my head that Sam's gonna miss something. And when Maul's ruling his criminal underworld in this Maul show, bro, if they make Maul rule with respect in this Maul show, it's gonna be over, man. I'm gonna be living.
Yeah, it's over for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's my line. That's what I tap out. I'm taking a lot of abuse and a lot of
over.
But when they mess with my favorite character, it's over.
I think if they mess with Maul and Ahsoka and what else did they go? I think mainly those two now, because those are the only two shows that are going right now. But they mess with that. If they mess with that, and even I would even say even Mandy and Grogu, but even then it's like, it's done. It's
I really hope it's true that Sam was able to get a hold of the scripts that they were going to use for George's ideas for what Maul and Talon.
Yeah, I hope he did, and I hope they used it.
I mean, I trust him. I'm just worried because Kathleen Kennedy, she doesn't have her way. She finds her way to get.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now, the way Star Wars is right now, she can't. I don't think she can have her way because like she has to pretty much accept what the actual creative people that want to do good with Star Wars.
That's true because we need this to be peak. I mean, the fact we're getting a Maul show in animation after imagine like in Clone Wars and Rebels, we got these little arcs of Maul, but a whole show centered around Maul, it's just going to be great. Because one of the things that Sam did to Maul that I think a lot of people don't understand, I think makes Maul brilliant, is I understand in Phantom Menace that Maul didn't speak a lot, right? And Maul was the baddest character in Phantom Menace, but I really fell in love with Maul the more depth there was to his character. Like, a lot of people would say, oh, they ruined Maul by making Maul talk. I love that Maul speaks. Like, I think
I agree.
Yeah, for real.
The fact that he speaks, it makes him so. Like,
the fact that he's getting his own thing makes me think that a lot of people are gonna watch it because a lot of people love his character. And I know like at least 100 people that love his character.
Yeah. Because the thing is with his character as well, it's like I get in Phantom Menace, like obviously he had that mysterious, he didn't say much, he just said what he needed to say. But I think with the Clone Wars, it gave one thing I've always loved about Clone Wars, it gave a lot of identities to a lot of characters. Like Maul, the clones got their own identity in a way. Like it wasn't just about them being soldiers, it was more like the brotherhood. Like these are their brothers, this is how they're doing things. And then who else was there? Like even like other Jedi's as well. Like we finally got to see more from like Plo Koon, Fisto. Got to see more from Aelius Secura. We got to see more. Yeah, it was just like finally like we're getting more. And then we also got to see Anakin and Obi-Wan's kind of brotherhood and Anakin and Ahsoka, big bro, little bro, big sis, little bro, big bro. Like it's just though that's what I really appreciate the Clone Wars for. Like a lot of people say, "Oh, the Clone Wars," this and that. And it's like, yeah, I mean, obviously, Ryan, you may not like it fully, but you have to respect like what they've done with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, the thing that I really gravitate towards is the fact that like I really think that like with the idea of like not only is the animation gonna be amazing, but the fact that this Maul show spins the narrative that Maul is such a good character that like there's so much interest in him. Like Sam like writing the script, making sure everything is locked out the gate, and like obviously even though they showed a little teaser at Star Wars Celebration that we won't see for a while. Imagine like when it gets polished and we get the real trailer. Yep, that was his classic line.
Oh yeah, and Joe. Speaking of, did you hear that we were supposed to get a TV show focused on Palpatine?
We covered this earlier in this podcast.
And apparently, Darth Plagueis was supposed to be in that too, right? From here.
Yep. I suspect that was originally the original plan for the Acolyte, and then somebody decided to go.
They should have done that instead. Why did it?
Yeah, I mean, the Acolyte for me, like they said they were going to focus on the dark side. They didn't really focus on the dark side how I liked to. I think the guy that the Stalker was the best about the dark side, but
their problem is they went back in time and tried to still show the corruption of the Jedi Order.
Yeah.
But they keep
and it wasn't around. But that's the thing. That corruption wasn't even around then. That's the thing that bothers me. Like that type of stuff was never there in the High Republic era, or even the thousands of years in the Old Republic. The corruption only started happening until we got to the present day of
and you know what that stuff is like? We talk about how bad it is that there's this scene in Andor, right? But you know what I was really upset about that I saw an article that Leslie had them put out after the Acolyte came out? Did you see the reason that Osha and May were trying to kill Soul was that they were blaming him for like they're making him look like he was basically like a like horrible murderer.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah.
Bro, what is this writing, bro? Bro? Okay.
Like they literally were trying to destroy.
This show is actually like next to Kenobi. Like they're both like very close to being like the worst shows.
I think that Acolyte's way worse, man.
I think what makes that
I personally like. I know you guys think the Acolyte's worse. For me,
from what I could tell, it's getting really close.
I think the Acolyte's worse because it goes and ruins certain things in canon. Like the fact that I would love to see. I don't know if he's allowed to speak on it because he's in his contract. Hey, Brandon. I would love to see George Lucas do a tangent on them messing with Kiara Mooney's birthday.
And the thing about me, Joe, the reason why I think Kenobi is like the worst one is because they did a lot of things that I did not want them to do. Like, first of all, like the whole Vader thing, I'm like, okay. And then Obi-Wan was barely like the main focus of the show. Like, that's another thing I don't like. Like, yeah, you saw him a couple times,
mid,
you know.
Brandon. I made a review about it. It's mid. It's mid
like,
so far. I want more Chronic. If I get more Chronic, I might be able to like it more. But
another thing, Joe, you know the thing that Kenobi did that was freaking messed up. The way they did the Grand Inquisitor. Okay, I don't care what anyone says. That's one of the worst things Star Wars has done.
They made some bad mistakes and they were horrible. But you got to understand, like, for me as a George Lucas purist, the fact that they went against like Dave made his own stuff. If Disney wants to fuck with Dave's stuff, it sucks. But he doesn't have the original vision that created Star Wars.
And that's the thing, Joe. That's the thing. I don't think because that's the thing. I think Kenobi might, even though I think Kenobi is the worst Disney Plus Star Wars show. I think the Acolyte is the second worst. I think it's right there. Like it's like because the thing that I didn't like about the Acolyte, and I don't know why they did this. Why would you put Yoda and Darth Plagueis in this show. I don't get that. Like me
Yeah,
personally, I was pissed
I was
off.
bothered.
Yeah.
And it's like that's what I'm saying. Like Yoda is one of the most. His power in the Force is crazy. Like the fact that he sensed Order 66 happening whilst being off planet, and he sensed everything. Like that tells you already. Wouldn't he just sense this stuff that's already going on about the witches? Why would they go to Master Yoda? Like
they included him at the end, even if
that's what made no sense.
Like Yoda should not know that stuff, and that's the thing that bothers me. I know they weren't Sith, but it bothers me, with the Keanu movie thing because of the line from Phantom Menace.
Yeah, they haven't been around for millennia.
Like it's
hey Joe.
Yeah,
I'm actually going to start to head out. This was a really, really, really great stream. I really love talking about this stuff with you guys.
Of course.
I'm going to start heading out. So I'll give you a call like 8 o'clock your time.
Yeah, sounds wonderful. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Bye. Bye, guys. Bye, CVO. Yeah. Bye, Chris. All right. Bye.
Later.
We're gonna wrap soon because I know Chris has to.
Yeah, it's getting late.
Going to do stuff just like I gotta do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will. We can take a few more questions in the chat real quick, and then we're probably gonna wrap pretty soon. We all got stuff to do tonight. But long story short, Acolyte was so trash. They made so many exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest problem is that even though I'm pissed about certain things in Andor, Acolyte was literally like reeking of desperation for agenda. Like every chance they got.
And the thing is, the Acolyte went against the original core of like, once they mentioned the threat,
when they
I was just like, bruh, really?
When they brought fucking what's it called? When they had the assassin chick, when May started quoting Anakin in episode 5, I was so mad.
Wait, what did she say again? Because I can't even remember.
I think
it's quite forget.
Something like, I think she tried to say his like, I brought peace and security to like my new empire or something. And she said something like one of Anakin's lines. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
And it was, and they're already fucking with the Chosen One shit. Do you think Order 66 is getting more 4 out of 10 because the duel fights were awesome? Yeah,
I was gonna say, can I say something about the duel fights real quick that I want to mention? I know the Acolyte was bad, but can we just appreciate that the duel fights in that show is way better than the sequel fights?
Yeah, I'll never forgive them for killing Trinity.
Yeah, for sure. The duel fights were a lot better. Definitely a lot better.
I did think the 5th episode and the finale fight were particularly the standouts, but it was some good ones. Do you think Order 66 getting more recognition in other media like Fallen Order, Clone Wars, Tales of the Jedi, The Mandalorian Season 3 has made Revenge of the Sith more tragic?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100. Because when Fallen Order, because Fallen Order, it was sad because like we're getting it from Cal's perspective, and obviously Cal was off planet with his master. He lost his master in everything and was stranded on that planet.
I just hate that they keep changing the story and saying that there's so many survivors because.
Well, there was always survivors in it, like because the thing is, initially we all thought when episode 3 ended, we all thought all the Jedi died, but no, Lucas even said no. There's other survivors.
I felt like with Obi-Wan, when they brought in like Reva's survival, it makes it seem so small because everyone in that temple should be dead.
Yeah, everyone in the temple should be dead. Yeah. The other Jedi around the world, it's kind of half. I would say at least 40 to 50%.
Well, because the ones that weren't hunted down directly, they got away, and that's fine. I'm fine with them getting away.
I remember there was one particular.
I understood how that worked because they did Dark Disciple and everything.
Yeah. I remember there was one particular Jedi that Darth Vader faced. I feel like he was the first Jedi, but he was a part of the council, but he was off planet and he did his own thing from the Jedi. I remember he bodied Anakin in the first comic book. I was like, wow, you know what I mean? And then obviously Anakin had to like pretty much train up again and whatnot. And I think this is when he was trying to bleed his kyber crystal. But
I remember that story. Yeah,
I can't remember the Jedi's name again. I keep forgetting his name. But yeah, like that story was pretty good. But yeah, like Fallen Order, Clone Wars, Tales of Jedi, like it makes Order 66 like definitely a lot more tragic. Man. Definitely makes all this a lot more tragic, and that's what it should be. That's what we should be for the Order 66. It should be tragic. But seeing things like in the Kenobi with Reva, it doesn't make it tragic now. It makes it like, oh, Anakin always had a good heart. It's like, no, the temple was supposed to be what it was. Like, why can't we just accept that for what it was? Why do we have to have one straggler that made it out? Nobody made it out. Which Jedi had the saddest death during Order 66? For me, it was Plo Koon, Master Tapal, Sindrale. Yeah, I think Master Tapal was tough. Plo Koon for sure. I think whose death was tragic in Order 66? I think it was I'm gonna say I think Aelys Secura, man, because she flipping like she didn't even get a chance to fight. Like at least like Yadi Mundi got a chance to fight. She did not get nothing. Like all the guns just turned on her and they just kept on blasting her body. I was like, bloody hell, man, that is sad. Like she didn't get a chance. You know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. What were you saying, Joe? We wrapping up?
Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap up pretty soon. Once we read these last couple ones. Yeah, the tests. Yeah, those are pretty big ones. You know, I know it's crazy because I know it was a great thing in Clone Wars and the Embarred arc was so good. I would have loved Pon Krell to survive Clone Wars, just to see Anakin put him in his place for taking his spot on that mission.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also still, I don't know if you read how much of the comics you read. Thanks, man. I'd love to see Commander Fox get his fate in live action that Anakin did to 5.
Yeah, Commander Fox. Yeah.
Dude's a fucking bitch. The final fight between Soul and it was surprisingly great. I like I said.
Yeah, it was a good fight. It was a good fight. Like it was good. It was better than the sequels, and I will say that.
All Disney Star Wars has its faults. I will say you will.
Yeah, there's moments.
As actual lightsaber choreography fights, you will see some fights from the Acolyte factor into my lightsaber fights ranked because it is important. We're gonna end the stream, guys. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, guys.
I'll be streaming games later. I got a message, Chris. I don't know if you're gonna go to bed or anything.
I'll probably be in bed soon. I can't lie. It's getting close to 1 a.m.
I should be able to finish some of my own thumbnails tonight. Then I'm still working on some of the other ones anyway. So
yeah.
Well, you have a good night, my friend.
Yeah, you too, man. See you stream.
We'll see you guys.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, guys. Tune in to my stream later tonight. I might be streaming some rivals, or I might have some other surprise games. Kind of been thinking about starting to stream some more Star Wars games on the channel again. So we'll catch you guys soon. Is the dialogue of what order what's it say? Let me read this. The 501st Clone Scenes says in Battlefront 2 games saying they don't feel bad about Order 66. Win stream. Sorry for coming late. No worries, man. I'll be streaming later if you're gonna be around, Brandon. I'm off tomorrow, so I'll be around. You'll see me. I promise. Thanks for coming in, guys. Have a great day. May the Force be with you, and we'll see you in the next stream.